All right, welcome back. Final run of the night. We're moving away from dark and gritty. We're done with that. It's all happy now, happy and good vibes. So we're gonna kick it over to Etchy for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Take it away.
Thank you. My name is Etchy. I'm a Pokemon speedrunner for over 2 years now. I am running my favorite Pokemon speedrun, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. And I'm just going to jump in and then we're going to talk for a little bit. And the timer is going to start, but as soon as I press A on begin game. So I'm going to count it down. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So this is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. It was released for the Switch in 2018. It was the first Pokemon Game Freak console game that they've made in a very, very long time. This game is effectively a remake of Pokemon Yellow, and we'll talk a lot about those similarities later. And before we go any further, as I do this intro text, we're going to throw it over to my commentators who can go introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name's Etiquette. I also run this game, although I run the better version. And yeah.
Hi, I'm New Amber. You might know me by my former username of Gym Freak. I've done runs pretty much equally of both Pikachu and Eevee, and I really enjoy both of the games.
Yeah, I initially invited them both because I was like, ooh, we can have one really knowledgeable Eevee runner and then one really knowledgeable Pika runner. And I was like, oh wait, Amber runs both of them at the exact same level. So it doesn't really do much for us here. But this was the standard Pokemon opening. We have a rival. His canon name's like Trace. We named him One. We have a character. We also named them One. And the reason for that is just text reasons. The less text, the faster things go. And we are trying to go fast because this is a speed run. I'm going to set some options at the start, namely just normal RPG options. You'll see where it's like text fast, animations off. And there's a thing called skip moves in this game. If you want to explain that, Amber.
Yeah, so there's special cutscenes in this game that are referred to as movies, where you don't have to master any dialogue. You just watch some little animations. There's only 5 of them or so through the run. And so turning that on takes a couple minutes, but it's not even that much time saved, or less than you would think for an option called skip movies.
Yeah, it's a good step forward, but it's still a bit of a compromise. We still have a lot of normal, traditional Pokemon cutscenes where you just mash through dialogue for a while. But we're coming up now. I'm going to be catching my starter, a Pikachu, because I'm playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. If I was playing Eevee, I'd be catching an Eevee here. And this Pikachu is actually going to be our main Pokemon for the next 2 hours or so. I'm going to be looking for specific nature on it. Nature is basically dictate. You either have neutral nature, so all your stats are neutrally affected, or you have a nature where one stat is positively effective and one is negatively effective. So you can be a plus attack minus special attack Pikachu. I'm just looking for something that has not bad attack and not bad special attack. That's all I care about. I'm going to go catch this.
Yeah, so one of the things that's a little bit different in this game, as opposed to the pretty much every other Pokemon game, is the starter. We're looking for a certain nature, but the starter has set stats. The starters are always going to have maximum stats. It's just the nature is going to influence, is my attack better or is it worse or something like that.
Yep. So that means 68% of Pikachus are runnable, which is very generous and very kind compared to a lot of other Pokemon games and Pokemon speedruns. If this one is not runnable, I do have a backup save. You don't really have to do that for a marathon run. What you can do is save before the catch, but I would lose 2 minutes every single time, or almost about a minute and a half each time I did that. So just to not make you all watch the same cutscene as I fail to get a Pikachu 10 times in a row, I just have a backup save, so we don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to check the stats here. There's a couple of interesting things we'll talk about with stats. There's a movie right here. I'm going to skip it by pressing the subtract button or minus button. And there's a lot of weird quirks with the mechanics in this game. The first one, if you didn't notice, is I actually threw a Pokeball, like throwing my controller to catch this thing. And you're going to see that a lot in this run. This run has a very interesting requirement. Let's see what we have here. Hasty. This is runnable. Cool. So in a normal run, I wouldn't actually check my nature there. I would just keep playing until I level up and then check my stats, and then I know by my stats what nature I am. But marathon run, it's easier to just do this. So who wants to talk about the elephant in the room with this run?
Yeah, I guess I can. So we're going to be seeing a lot of catching. And basically, every gym in this game has a requirement in order to enter it. So the game caused a lot of controversy when it was like revealed, because there was a gym requirement. In order to enter Brock's gym, you have to have a water or a grass starter. And everyone's like, the game's going to be too easy. The game's going to be so hand-holdy, all that kind of stuff. Turns out, one of the gym requirements in order to enter Koga's gym is to have 50 Pokemon caught in the Pokedex. Now, this is a Generation 1 remake, so there are only 150 Pokemon to choose from, which means you have to literally catch a third of the Pokedex. So the run it's really fun and really unique, but it's very built around that one goal. So we're going to be catching, usually we catch around like 30 to 35, I want to say, Pokemon, and we evolve the rest. But yeah, there's a lot of strats that go into catching, and all of the catching is done using the fantastic motion controls.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's how I would describe them. The motion controls are generally consistent. We do have tricks and techniques to make them more in our favor. So one of those tricks and techniques is using a Joy-Con grip. This is what comes with the Switch. You're gonna see some other mechanics later, but I basically just put my controller or controllers, spoiler for later, into this grip, and then I just throw the whole grip. And that will generally keep my catches in line with where I'm going to go. And then sometimes Pokemon go off to the side, and then you have to do side throws, which are always a nightmare. And it's just never a good time. But sometimes the game is nice to you and is like, oh, I see where you're trying to throw the ball. Here you go. We'll make sure that hits for you.
Yeah, sometimes the game like kind of auto aimed. Like if you're close enough to like throwing it toward the Pokemon, it will just kind of like center it for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes the game just says no instead. It's very fun.
Super fun. This is our first rival battle. I'm minus defense plus speed nature for those that didn't catch that earlier. Minus defense isn't too bad. It's slightly better for this run than minus special defense. And then plus speed is completely useless. One other thing to note about the stats is that I'm not just using a Pikachu right now. I'm using a special Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu starter Pikachu, which means my stats are even higher than normal. Like not even just 31 IVs, like max possible value, but like the base stats are even higher. So I think Pikachu's base speed is like 120, which is like on par really with a lot of like really fast legendaries. It's pretty insane. Unfortunately, the rest of Pikachu's stats aren't particularly amazing, but that was a little tutorial for like playing with our Pokemon. We're never going to do that. Maybe at the end of the run, but that'll be it. And we'll talk more about friendship later and how that'll come into play, especially towards the end of the run. It's super important.
Yeah,
but
I just pulled up the comparison. The partner Pikachu has 110 more base stats than the original.
Oh my gosh.
30 in speed, like 25 in attack and special attack.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty wild.
Yeah, we didn't mention this yet, but for both Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, you can't evolve your starter, so that's why they have those super jack stats to kind of offset that. And that whole like evolution thing is part of why we end up not using Pikachu for the whole run. There's another bigger reason later, but we'll talk about that. So if you notice during that level up screen, you might have seen a little yellow +1. That's called an awakening value. Do you want to explain those, Amber?
Yeah, I can explain those. So, unlike the effort values in most Pokemon games, this game uses awakening values. Basically, every time you level up, you get just a random +1 in one of your stats. So HP, attack, defense, special defense, and speed. And Also, on the screen where Etchy looked at his nature, there's also this thing called a characteristic. And depending on what little phrase it says, it can favor where your AVs go.
Yeah, this Pikachu has a plus defense characteristic, which is kind of cool because it kind of offsets the minus defense nature. But all you really care about for a Pikachu is attack stat, special attack stat. Those are the only two things that ever matter. You just want those to be as high as possible, especially special attack. As time goes on, that ends up mattering a lot more in mid game. So
yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna say it's a common theme. Eevee also really likes special attack AVs, but usually only really likes it if, like, let's say 15 of the 25 AVs go into it. Like, you need an absurd amount to go into it for it to really matter. But
yeah, it's there's a lot of similar things with attack for Pikachu in this game. If you just have like insane attack, you can actually get away with some pretty crazy things in mid game that are never even a possibility. You might be noticing that, Etiquette said we have to catch or register 50 Pokemon in our Pokedex, and I haven't caught anything yet. And that's part of what makes this speedrun so both challenging and dynamic and interesting and fun and amazing to run, is the decision making with catching. So there's like 10 million things to explain with it, but we're gonna try to do it. So I don't want to catch things, if possible, until they're right about to level, or like if I level them up one time, they evolve immediately, because every time something levels up in your party, it takes like 2 seconds to actually register that level up and like get off your screen. So you want to, the general strat is minimize the amount of level ups you get and minimize the amount of catching that you do. I'm going to use a lure here. What this does is basically force everything that spawns after the lure to be the maximum level for this area +1. So an example would be like, if a Caterpie could be between level, what do I do here? Okay. So if a Caterpie could be like level 3 through 6, it'll always be level 7 after the lure.
You may have also noticed that some of the Pokemon kind of have these like red or blue like swirling things around it. Those are either big Pokemon if they're red, or small Pokemon if they're blue. That just means that if you catch them, you'll get 1.5 times more experience. And there's a super small chance that you get like an extra sized Pokemon. And those give you 4 times experience. So whenever Etchy can, he's looking to get these sized Pokemon.
Yeah, I was very particular about my order of operations here. I guess this is now math. So I want to ideally leave here with a Caterpie, an Oddish, and a Weedle. I don't want to catch Oddish last if possible, because I'm actually going to use Oddish as my main for like 3 fights. I lied. I'm not actually just using Pikachu this whole time. But first, I'm going to teach Double Kick here. This is one of the ways they help both Eevee and Pikachu to deal with Brock, the first gym leader, because he's Rock type. You both get Double Kick, so it gives you an option. But we're not actually going to use Pikachu with Double Kick for Brock. Pay attention to how long this evolution takes, and just be aware of this for the rest of the run. There's going to be a lot of evolutions, and we try to... There's a reason why we try to want to be efficient and not like evolve things that we don't need to evolve or stuff like that, because this takes a good chunk of time.
Yeah, it's the general idea is it's about 30 seconds per Pokemon, because with these catch routes being so dynamic and so dependent on like what actually spawns, and maybe you got a super large Pokemon and stuff like that, so your experience is all out of whack. Maybe you get a Butterfree to spawn, which
that's a 1% by the way.
But like every run, you're gonna have a different catch count almost on each split. So we tend to use about 30 seconds per Pokemon, and that 30 seconds is both this whole catch sequence, usually a little bit over 30 seconds, but around 30 seconds, or an evolution. Like they take almost the same amount of time. So it's yeah, you definitely want to minimize the amount of wasted time and wasted experience, because as you can notice, everything in the party is gaining experience. It's not just the main Pokemon.
Yeah, EXP share is always on, can't be turned off, unlike some other Pokemon games. I'm going to run away from that Butterfree. Again, there's no point in catching a Butterfree when I can just evolve my Metapod into a Butterfree. And to kind of go back to what I was saying earlier, so the order that I catch things in matters a lot, and it'll vary greatly run to run based on just what spawns. So in that specific situation, I always prefer to catch Caterpie first because getting Butterfree earlier is always better, and I'll explain why in a bit. Oddish you don't want to catch last unless you get one on Route 2 because you actually want Oddish to be at least level 8 for Brock. Otherwise, you're just going to lose time on the fight because the level difference will matter. I am going to solo Brock with Oddish, if that wasn't clear. Which is actually a Pikachu specific strat. And then I want to catch the Weedle after that because the Weedle catch will get the Oddish to level 8. So that was my approach for that section. And it was also glowing Oddish, so I didn't want to just catch that first because I wanted to make sure I could do a 2-controller catch, which we didn't even explain at all. What is 2-controller catching?
So basically, I'll go.
I was going to volunteer you anyway.
In this game, there's like a couple different ways to play. The ones we use for the speedrun is using like a single Joy-Con to control the character. So you can use a single Joy-Con, and then with your other Joy-Con, if you turn it on, it can summon like a support trainer. And basically that support trainer can help you do catches. It will increase catch rate if you use both of them, and it will get you more experience. And also, something that will become relevant a little bit later into the run is that we can also bring in our support trainer to have a second Pokemon to attack. So we can basically do 2-on-1 cheat fights.
Yeah, I realized that the trainer falling out of the sky earlier was probably very confusing if you have no idea what was going on. But yeah, that's one of the nice things with this game. This is like one of the first like true co-op Pokemon games. It's not like super in-depth and detailed, but it does let you do some things together with a friend. And in the speedrun, we just do it ourselves. And it's really, really good. In the olden days of running this game, way before I even learned it, they used to not do 2-controller. And you would have like 10 million more breakouts when trying to catch Pokemon as a result.
Yeah. Nowadays, you can. It's not the most common thing in the world, but you can get through a run without any breakouts.
Yeah.
Or less than 5, I would say. Almost every single run.
That's really good crit.
If you had like 25 breakouts entering Rock Tunnel, it was like a bad run, but it wasn't awful.
Yeah.
Like that's how bad it was. It was 1-controller catches are just so bad, and it made the experience super tight too, because like, so in Pikachu, Pikachu gains double kick at level 9. Eevee needs to get to level 10, and in order to get level 10 with 1-controller catches, you have to do things like catch Metapod and Kakuna. It was awful, but yeah, we eventually combined 2-controller in with 1-controller. It doesn't really change that many fights. Some fights are done. Every fight that we do 2-controller on is now either faster or safer.
Yep.
Even for record attempts, sometimes you take a safer version of a fight just because like you might have a bad range, but it really doesn't break the game as much as you might think.
Yeah, it turns out a two-player turn is very similar in time to 2 1-player turns. So it's almost, if you can 1-controller, you should through fights. Basically, that's the gist of it. It's just going to save you more time.
All right,
Here,
so
items. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Etchy's doing some shopping here. Buy Great Balls. Pokeballs are awful, and so Great Balls are gonna basically carry us through almost the rest of the run. There's gonna be a section where we switch up to Ultra Balls, but Great Balls are really good right now. We also buy X items here. So X items are very important items for speedruns. Every Pokemon speedrun uses them, or at least every Pokemon speedrun that does fights. Shout out to BDSP. And basically, they increase the stage for a particular stat of your Pokemon. So an X attack will increase your attack stage. One stage is basically equivalent to like a 50% boost. So if you go up 1 stage, it's 50% more, 100% more for 2 stages, etc. From gens 1 through 6, X items would work by 1 stage. So you'd go up +1, +2, like that. In Gen 7, they upped the price from like $500 to about $1,000 and $2,000 for some X items.
Yeah.
And they made them go up by 2 stages. In this game, it's a Generation 7 game, but it's a Generation 1 remake. So they left the prices the same as Gen 1, where they're like $500. And they left the effect of Gen 7, where they are +2 X items. So they're very broken, very useful. And you're going to be seeing a lot of them, especially with 2-controller fights, because something that was added, I don't remember exactly what gen, I want to say Gen 5.
Yep.
If you're in a double battle, your partner can use an X item on you. And I mean, we only want one Pokemon dealing damage, just because it's more efficient. And so you can just pump X items into that Pokemon while they're like cranking away at the fight. It's really great. Definitely not cheating at all.
You just saw me get a Magikarp for 500 Pokédollars, which is the steal of the century. It's like one of the fastest things we can get to meet our catch requirement. So it's really, really good. Oh yeah, I had a feeling I'm not level 10 here, so if you don't have good special attack, this is a range to 2-shot this.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Magikarp comes in at level 5. And if you wanted to evolve it, you'd have to get it up like 15 levels. So we're going to take it out of the party pretty quickly because it's very slow to evolve it.
Yeah, and I was also looking for a Sandshrew or a Magikarp on that last route. Unfortunately, I didn't see either one of them. I do have a chance to get one of them later, or both of them later on the next route, but they're not something I routinely plan for because there's just not many opportunities to grab them. There's a lot of Pokemon like that in this run where they're just like bonus catches effectively, where it's like if I see them, cool, that's one extra catch and I can adapt my catch route for that. Otherwise I just kind of move on. If you watch more runs of this game, you'll notice if you watch like a lot of the top runners, what they're doing is basically never stopping or almost never stopping and just always kind of non-stop running and taking what the game hands them in terms of catches. Because waiting around is just slow and you don't want to do that, and you can always just adapt your catch route as you go along to make up for that.
I think you meant Sandshrew or Mankey, not Magikarp.
Did I say Magikarp?
Yeah.
I think Magikarp can just appear in the grass, right? That's normal. So I'm going to go back down. I'm going to go down this ladder. Y'all didn't see it, but before the run, I actually changed my clock. And Etiquette, do you want to explain why that happened?
Yeah, so some things in this game are... there isn't a lot in this particular game that depends on the clock. But one thing that does is certain items will respawn daily. And technically what that means is they respawn at midnight. Moonstones are one of those items. So the objective here is to enter this room and pick up this moonstone before midnight. And then by the time you exit the room, it will be past midnight. So the moon chance will have a chance of respawning. It's not guaranteed, but I think we don't have like the exact numbers, but it's around 50-50. And if it does respawn, that's just a second moonstone that you can just evolve. Because you usually catch at least 3 Pokemon that can evolve via moonstone.
So that was motion controls.
Yeah, that's one of those throws that usually gets homed in on the circle, but not this time.
Yeah. Fortunately, it was glowing, so I'm not going to lose too much EXP, but it is a bummer. This would have given me like 600 EXP. Oh, that's supersized. We're fine.
Yeah, so one of the things that we need...
that was actually correct to not get that catch as an excellent. Cool. That would have been atrocious. Sorry, go ahead, Amber.
For the end of Mount Moon, we actually need Pikachu to be level 15. That's because the gym requirement to get into Misty's gym is to have a level 15 Pokemon. And Pikachu is pretty much always going to be like the highest level thing that you have. So getting that supersize is actually like really good because now Etchy doesn't have to like worry about like his catch experience at all.
Yeah. So now I'm set pretty much. I did mention earlier that I have to... it's good to get Caterpie first because then I can get rid of Butterfree earlier. The reason for that is because at level 13, Butterfree learns 3 moves at once. And if you haven't noticed, learning moves and rejecting to learn them is also time loss. Same with just level up. So a lot of this run is just on the fly decision making with your party, making sure you're not keeping things in your party for too long and making the right decision at the right times. So that's where I actually just have to make some decisions right now, because I want Kakuna to become Beedrill, which happens at level 10, but my Weedle's actually level 11 because it got so much EXP. So I have to keep it to level 12 in order to evolve it. I shouldn't be too concerned with getting Butterfree to level 13 as long as I don't get another glowing Pokemon. I don't think a normal Geodude gets my Kakuna to the level up, but a normal Geodude and a normal Paris, which are the other two things I want to catch here, should be totally fine to not get Butterfree to level 13 and also get me what I want. I need the Nugget still. Okay, well there's both things I said, so go catch him. This should work out fine the way I'm thinking. We'll see.
Etchy's also avoiding Zubat here because he wants to catch it later when the Zubat is a higher level and closer to evolution.
Yeah, if a Zubat hits me here, I'll just catch it anyway because I don't want the time loss from like running away from an encounter. Is this fine? Okay, no, yeah, we got the level up. Cool. Do I deposit now then? I don't think Paris pushes Butterfree to level 13.
It shouldn't.
Shouldn't. Right?
I mean, it would be close, but I don't think so.
So Paris only gives 228, 29 EXP.
229, yeah.
It's a little bit less than the Geodude just gave me. So in theory, it should be fine. Find out. We'll try it. We'll see what happens. Maybe I can just show chat what it looks like when you link 3 moves at once. This is a win-win scenario.
Yeah, and you might be wondering, oh, if we're going to delay Zubat, why don't we delay Geodude? There's 2 main reasons why we don't delay Geodude, and they both are just basically experience. So Geodude is really good experience for this area. It's like, it's over 300 experience normally. It's really good. It's a fairly easy catch. Like, it's one of the ones that you probably, if you're, all right, sorry, I'm like getting ahead of myself. If you want to run this game and you want to practice any catch, I would 100% practice Geodudes because they're such good experience and they have a very finicky circle that like slightly moves.
Mm-hmm.
So it really, pays off to practice that. But the other thing is later on in Rock Tunnel, you could get Geodudes as well, and they'd be 1 level away from evolving. But you can also catch Gravelers there. Gravelers are fairly easy to catch, at least skill-wise. There's a bit more RNG to them. But they are incredibly good experience at a time which in both games, you really want that extra experience just to help with the next section. We'll get to that when we get there, why that section is really nice for experience, but that's basically why you want to catch the Geodude now and a Graveler later.
Yeah, there are times where I actually had to run this morning where I skipped Geodude in Mount Moon because my EXP was just so insanely good at Mount Moon that I was willing to take that risk. And it actually didn't pay off because I didn't see a single Geodude in Rock Tunnel. I ended up catching a Graveler anyway. But that's just another decision-making gamble you can take if you want to. Nice. Things can spawn on top of you in this game. Basically the equivalent of a random encounter in the old games. I don't think I swapped. Did I swap Pikachu to the front? I don't remember.
I remember you swapping something. I'm pretty sure you did.
I mean, we'll find out, I guess.
We'll find out. Okay, I did. Cool.
All right.
That's one of the things I've never actually messed up, and I just always think, did I forget it? Is this the time where I did it?
I've messed it up too many times.
Good dodge. That's also why I like fighting that other trainer first, because then I just swap it in that same menu, and I'm less likely to forget it. But level to 15 is what we wanted, because Misty's gym requirement is level 15. So now we don't have to worry about that, and it also gives us a nice damage boost. I don't think we mentioned the damage boosting level up thing, right?
No. So basically, because of the way the damage formula works, every time you like get to a level that ends in 0, 3, 5, or 8, your Pokemon will get an extra boost of damage. So like if you had like a level 14 Pokemon with let's say 40 attack and a level 15 Pokemon with 40 attack, that level 15 Pokemon would be doing more damage.
Yep. These next few fights are pretty straightforward, except for the one after the next one. So until then, we're gonna stop talking about nerd game mechanics, and I'm just gonna gush about how much I love this game. So, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee is actually the first Pokemon speedrun I ever learned. I actually got my start with speedrunning with Kingdom Hearts, and then I tried some other things until I found Pokemon Let's Go. So I was like, oh, I have a Switch and Pokemon seems up my alley. Let's just run it, right? And I was just hooked like immediately on Eevee. It was so much fun, and just the way the game works and the way the speedrun works in terms of like, ooh, I thought that was a crit for a second. In terms of like the minute-to-minute decision making, it's so unique to every other Pokemon speedrun, and that's what I really enjoy about it. Like a lot of the other Pokemon speedrunners are a lot more kind of by the numbers run to run and a lot more reset heavy in general. Like I feel like most other games I run for Pokemon, I do a lot more resets in the first 30 minutes compared to this game. And this game lets you play it, and it lets you do a lot of improv and do a lot of kind of feel-based decision making, and it's like a breath of fresh air compared to like running a lot of the other Pokemon games. And I highly recommend this game to anyone who wants to either try out this specifically or Pokemon speedrunning in general. It's an amazing gateway for it, and it's also just like, in my opinion, the best Pokemon speedrun. Both Eevee and Pikachu are fantastic, but these two are from the anime. I mentioned at the very beginning that this is a Pokemon Yellow remake, and I said that very specifically, not just because we are using a Pikachu, but because there's a couple things like Jesse and James, who are also in Pokemon Yellow, are in this game, and will show up from time to time to thwart us and are some of the most annoying enemies in mid-game in particular. So if this works out properly, I will win on this turn, but Oddish isn't super strong. Damage does look okay, though. Nah, not enough. So every extra double turn always sucks, and you want to avoid it if you can. I should... You know what? I'm actually going to potion here. If I can.
Yeah, one thing that makes like having this extra turn a little bit better is that Etchy can heal in the fight instead of having to do like an extra menu later.
Yeah.
So it saves you a little bit of time there.
Yeah, and even though we are electric type, Misty isn't a complete pushover. It may look like she is if I don't get unlucky, but it might go badly. But all in all, pretty okay start so far. Nothing crazy has happened. All the catches have been very smooth, actually, so very nice.
Yeah, it was just the one mishap with the Clefairy that ended up working out. Anyways.
Yeah, like if I actually got an Excellent in that Clefairy, we would have been on screen for an extra 30 seconds. It would have been insane. I want to see Mankey Sandshrew. None, dang. This run is very low on a bonus Pokemon right now. Actually, yeah, 0. Yeah, 0. There are a couple other bonuses that we could have gotten. We could have gotten a Bulbasaur in the Viridian Forest. It's pretty rare, but see it relatively often, I would say. And then in Mount Moon, there's a couple other things that could spawn. You can get a Clefable, you can get an Onix, you can get a Chansey, which we can actually maybe see later as well. I have 36 attack. I believe that is the 10 out of 16. Okay. Who wants to explain ranges so I can actually say things like 10 and 16 and it's not complete gibberish?
Yeah, I can cover that. So when the damage formula is done, so every time you deal damage or damage is dealt to you, the very end of it is like a multiplier for a random number between 85% and 100%. And so what that does is that basically yields 16 different potential damage rolls. And whenever we say something is a range or something is like a 10 and 16 range, something like that, that basically means that some of those damage rolls will result in a certain outcome. So 10 and 16 range on Starmie means that 10 out of those 16 potential outcomes will be a KO on the Starmie. So usually once you get into like the 10 and 16 range, it's something you're comfortable going for. Anything that's like maybe 5 and 16 or 6 and 16, it's just not worth like expecting it to happen.
Yeah, one of the interesting challenges with this game is balancing out your RNG and the amount of risk you're taking. Generally, you're going to see people play fairly safe on fights until they have to take more risk, like in endgame, and that's also where there's a lot more time saved for taking risk in fights. Just because there's so much catch RNG in the first like 2 hours of the run, where you're not going to see as many risks because people would rather take the risk with the catching stuff. That crit does not matter because, like I said, if I was level 15, the range on this Starmie would be a 10 out of 16, but because I level up here, I'm going to have enough attack to guarantee this one shot. Amber, do you want to explain what Zippy Zap is? I just learned it and I just used it, and I'm now going to destroy Misty with it.
Yeah, so periodically throughout the game, there will be these move tutors that like teach your starter Pokemon special moves. So Pikachu can only get one here. It's called Zippy Zap. It is a electric base 50 power move, which doesn't sound that powerful, but it, 1, always crits, and 2, has +2 priority. +2 priority, like there's like a chart of like what moves like go first, and Zippy Zap will move before moves like Quick Attack or like pretty much most other moves in the game.
Yeah. The only one you're gonna
like
see get beaten is like Fake Out, and that's it.
That's why like Pikachu speed like barely matters. Like
Yeah.
there's maybe like 2 things that could even outspeed Pikachu throughout this run, but because you use Zippy Zap on them, it just doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I think with your minus speed, the only thing you're gonna ever notice is 1 OADAT in underneath the game corner, and that's because it's like many levels higher than you. So here's our rival again. This fight, nothing too scary here. This OADAT should control you quite a bit. It's the only thing we have to 2-shot it. Hopefully I just get a flinch. If you have really high attack here, this can get kind of messy because you have to kind of be careful. It has like, okay, good. I was gonna wait to see what it showed before I said what it has. It has like poison powder, which is always annoying. Status moves are just slow in general, and you don't want to lose HP if you don't have to. It also has absorb, which makes it harder to kill. It'll just take some HP away and put it to itself. Okay.
Nice min-max roll.
Yeah, that first kick was pretty bad. So I think, what was my attack then? Yeah, so that was a 10 out of 16 chance for the double kick to actually kill. Very lucky that the second kick was a hard enough roll to make up for the first kick there. And now we're gonna do Nugget Bridge, a completely normal and not, evil thing where I just go fight some trainers and win a fabulous prize for beating all 5 of them. Definitely nothing bad will happen after that.
No.
Nope.
This is probably a good time to talk about some of the differences between Eevee and Pikachu. Just we haven't really had an opportunity for it. So, the move tutor move that Pikachu learns here, Zippy Zap, is exclusive to Pikachu. Eevee gets its own moves here, and Eevee actually gains 3 moves. It gains Bouncy Bubble, which is a water move, Buzzy Buzz, which is an electric move, and Sizzly Slide, which is a fire move. Those moves all sound made up. I promise they're not. All of the moves are 90 base power, and they all have pretty broken side effects. Bouncy Bubble is like Absorb, so it takes half of the damage dealt and gives it back to you in HP. Buzzy Buzz always paralyzes, and Sizzly Slide always burns, so it's extremely good. And then, in addition, one of the other things that we didn't really talk about is the TM that we gain from Brock is Headbutt. Headbutt is a 70 base power normal move, which both Eevee and Pikachu learn, but Eevee gets way more use out of it because of same type attack bonus, or stab. Basically, if a move shares a type with the user, it's gonna have a 50% power boost. So Eevee basically has a 105 power move going through the entire early game, where the best thing Pikachu has is like, well, it has Headbutt, but other than that, it has like Thunder Shock, which is 40 power. So
it's brutal.
It's really, really nice for the early game.
Yeah, we didn't really mention this really quickly there. That's a nice little 2-controller shot you can do on Pika, where you either do that fight with Pikachu and 2-shot it with Headbutt, and then you have some risk because it has like Sand Attack and Poison Sting, which suck. Or you can do what I just did, a 2-controller fight where it's the same amount of turns, but you can also use one of those turns to heal, so you don't have to heal outside of battle, and OADAT always one-shots. not the fake out. But yeah, so Eevee and Pikachu are actually on separate leaderboards. And right now, the world record between them is 12 seconds apart. So even though the first 2 hours of the run is completely different strats, completely different mains, all that kind of stuff, they end up being basically about the same, which is pretty crazy if you look at like just how like split for split they like go back and forth about which one's better and which one's worse. So like Pikachu's way better for Brock, but then it's slightly worse through Mount Moon, and that like trend keeps continuing as the run goes on. And it's really interesting and really fun for someone like me who runs both games, because they offer very different experiences, even though it's largely the same game.
All right, time to get our prize.
Yeah, from this nice looking gentleman over here who has a nugget. Mysterious Trainer. That's their name. Oh no.
Who could have seen this coming?
Oh my gosh. Is this the game that has the glitch with the nugget?
I forget which game has it. I know one of them does.
Is that Fire Red Leaf Green?
I think it's Fire Red, yeah.
Dang it. One of the games is a glitch where if you just like keep dying to this fight, you get infinite nuggets. If you have good attack, you can actually go for a Zippy Zap one-shot on this coughing. I do not have good attack. My attack's actually pretty bad. Again, fortunately, attack doesn't matter too much from this point on. So I'm gonna instead go for Headbutt. Hopefully I'll flinch. This thing has Smog and you don't want to see that. Nice. I'm getting a lot of flinches today. We're doing good.
Yeah, Headbutt's only 30% to flinch, so there's some pretty good luck here.
You might see it later in the run too, where I go for Headbutt in random situations where it doesn't seem like it makes sense, but it's because I can't kill with my other moves. That Venonat's really far, but I have no bonus Pokemon. No, I can't do it. So far. And I'll just like Headbutt to get the flinch chance to potentially save some time. That'll come up a couple times later.
Yeah, just to explain what Etchy means by like bonus Pokemon, there are like some Pokemon that you like expect to catch and you catch on like almost every run, like Caterpie, Weedle, Geodude, Paris, stuff like that. And then there are stuff like bonus Pokemon that it's like you don't generally plan to catch them, but if you see them, they're like usually nice to go for and catch.
Yeah, I pretty much always go for Venonat, but that one is literally as far as possible, and it's basically an extra like 10 seconds of movement just to get it. So I figured I'd just put it off and hope to make up for it later. And to kind of explain how I approach this whole catch routing nonsense, I'm actually using a program in the background that y'all can't see, created by Etiquette, again, who's in the call.
Hey.
And basically, I mark down all the Pokemon that I expect to catch in the run, which I planned for like 51 Pokemon, which is over the 50 amount. And then as the run goes along, I check off the ones that I have caught. I keep track of any bonuses along the way. And then usually what happens is like as the run goes on, I overplan for like maybe 56, 54 Pokemon. And then as I get deeper and deeper to the run, I cut that down to 50 to make sure I have exactly 50 before I get to Koga. And it's a lot of just, you know, figuring out what makes sense in your current situation, evaluating your party. And there's just like 10 other factors that depends on where you are in the run. This is another cutscene. This is Bill, by the way. He's not actually a Nidorino. Yeehaw, as Bill says. We actually have another speedrun category called Ditch Bill, which is a category on the category extensions board where instead of helping him, you just leave the house. It's a great meme. It's a good run. And it started because some runners accidentally did it in a real run.
Yeah, it's like a meme category, but like honestly, if you're just like learning the game and you kind of just want to like dip your toes into like a short category, it's actually like really relatively easy to learn and like quite short.
Yeah, if you want to get into Pokemon speedrunning, learn Ditch Bill first, and then you can be like, oh, this is cool. Maybe I'll learn the full 90%. Because people always say this about Pokemon runners that we're like sick and twisted because we're like, oh my gosh, BDSP can be is like 3 hours for glitchless. That's so short. And every other speedrunner looks at us like we're insane. And even Let's Go, which is one of the shortest Pokemon glitchless speedruns outside of like the really earlier gens, it's 3 hours long. It's not that short. So Ditch Bell is a great opportunity to kind of like just get a better feel of it. It's only like 30 minutes long, so not too bad.
Yeah, it sort of helps answer what would the run be like if you don't have to catch the Pokemon. Because if the goal is just to get to Bill and leave him, you don't really have to catch anything. You're gonna want to.
Yeah.
Pikachu's not gonna be able to do it on its own, but it sort of answers that. There's another category on the category extension boards called Get Kicked by Koga, which is kind of the same idea, except it's way worse. And I definitely don't recommend that one.
Yeah, because like catching gives you so much of your experience in this game. If you like skip catching, like you're gonna be super under leveled. And like only going to Bill, it's not like that bad. But going all the way to Koga, it's like
yeah, you're low on EXP and you're just struggling the whole way.
I mean, even on this normal run, we're gonna be under leveled really soon.
Yeah. It's not relevant. It wasn't relevant up to this point, but for those who have not played the original Gen 1 games or any of the remakes, we are in the Kanto region, and Kanto is incredibly unique compared to a lot of other Pokemon regions in that it's very non-linear. And as soon as I beat Misty, I can clear every other gym except for the last one in any order I want. And you're actually going to see that because I'm not going to do another gym fight for the next hour. I'm just going to rush through as many other required things as possible until a certain event happens, and then I'll start fighting the gym leaders again.
Yeah, in like the other Kanto games, like Yellow or like Fire Red Leaf Green, a lot of the times you would be like walled by needing badges to use like HMs. But in this game, they completely got rid of HMs, and instead you, like your partner Pokemon get like special techniques, I think they're referred to in this game, that replace the HMs, and you don't need the badges to be able to use them, so it's very nice.
So Growlithe is a very good dog. We're going to actually be using Growlithe as a doubles partner for this next section for several reasons. It's very good. I probably should have grabbed the candy first, because now I should probably grab the candy still. Right?
Yeah.
I would for marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this candy that I'm about to pick up, it's actually, I'm not going to use it for another hour and like 20 minutes. Very similar to what I was talking about earlier. That's like the event that I'm talking about is actually where we're going to use this candy. And you don't always use it right away. Sometimes you kind of delay it. But we'll explain why we grabbed that candy later. But the reason I grabbed that and not just like... Is there a Jigglypuff? No. It's fine. That's one of the hardest trainer passes in the game. It's much harder than it looks. You have to be very precise, and otherwise you will hit one of those trainers. I need to do a big shop here. While I do this, what was I about to explain?
Trainer vision?
I
don't know if that's what you're going to talk about or not.
I don't remember.
Oh, why do we grab the candy? When we can grab other candies later.
Oh, yeah. So we need 4 candies for the main route, and there is at least one that is faster to grab than that one. But typically we grab that one for 2 different reasons. The first reason is it allows more time for Growlithe to spawn, among other things. Like Growlithe, Jigglypuff can spawn there too. Growlithe is very important for the Pikachu route.
Yeah.
On Eevee, you can get Vulpix here, and it's just another Pokemon. But Growlithe actually matters. And then the other reason why it's really good is later on, you need to use the 4 candies, but you can either use them 2 at a time and then 2 later, or 3 at a time and 1 later. And you might want to make that decision based on your stats when you see them. So, if you grab this candy, you can do 3 and 1. If you don't grab that candy, the other faster candy is later, so you'd have to do 2 and 2. and you might be introducing ranges or speed ties or other things that you normally wouldn't have to worry about.
Yeah. So it's very little reason to not grab it. And unfortunately, it didn't actually matter for me because I didn't get any extra Pokemon out of it. My catch count is so low this run. This is a 13 poke rival. That may cause problems later, or it'll just magically work out. Who knows? Amber, what do you think about? What if I just like candy this Growlithe right now? Just throw out everything Etiquette just said.
I mean, if you want to do that, you can.
Do you think that's so? So the reason why I would candy it, we mentioned earlier, the damage boost at certain levels. So you really want Growlithe to be level 18. You don't need it to, but if it's a bad Growlithe or like a mediocre, if it's not like a good Growlithe, it's gonna miss some ranges on the next route, which can be pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have like a pretty weak Growlithe for it to matter like that much.
Well, the Gloom ranges, you actually need a really good Growlithe to guarantee that one. Level 17. But the Sandshrew one is less of an issue.
Mm-hmm. The Gloom can't really hurt you that much though. Yeah. So
it's just time lost because of turns, basically. Let's see, 40. This Pikachu is very mediocre. Need to reiterate that. So I'm going to do Zippy Zap here. So Growlithe's good for two reasons. One, it has Flamethrower already, which is 95 power move, super strong. And then two, it has Helping Hand, which can help us cut down on X item usage and also just really fast. Helping Hand, you're going to see it a lot in this run, actually. It is basically... You can think of it like almost another X item. Sometimes it is another X item. So right now, using Helping Hand on Pikachu that has +2 attack effectively means I have +4 attack. But it doesn't work like that if I have no X items currently used. I don't know exactly like how, it's just a result of the damage formula basically. But it's very, very powerful and you're going to see it a lot later.
Yeah, it's like a little bit hard to explain, but basically like X items and like stages, the boosts are like additive, which means that you'll go from like 100% at +0 to 150% at +1 to 200% at +2 and so on and so forth. You add 50% every time. But for Helping Hand, instead of adding, you like multiply it by 50%. And he'll kind of like explain more what that means. If you are like at 100%, like you're +0 normally, you're at 100% damage, after a Helping Hand, you'll do 150%. But if you're at 200, it will multiply that by 1.5 and you'll do 300% instead. So like because of the way the math works out, sometimes like Helping Hand helps you a lot and sometimes it only helps you a little.
Yeah, if it wasn't clear, there's a lot of math in these speedruns. It's a lot. Fortunately, like if you're just like executing a route, you really don't have to worry about that much math. Just like, is this move going to kill me? Yes or no type math. That's it. But the routing aspect of these runs, it's really important to understand this math stuff, or at least use tools that understand it properly. And that's part of why routing Pokemon speedrun stuff is my favorite thing ever. Because this is very muted. Like sometimes I freak out when things spawn in front of me. But routing Pokemon speedruns is always really fun. I do a lot of like meme alt mains in other games. I'm currently working on like a Munchlax plus speedrun, Munchlax alt main speedrun for Pokemon Platinum, and it's a glorious nightmare. It's a really cool side of Pokemon speedrunning that I hope more people get into as time goes on.
Yeah, Pokemon is very fortunate in that there are so many, like even outside of speedrunning, there are so many resources about the games just because it's such a popular series. If you want to know what level something learns a move at, you can just find that in a very quick Google search. So it makes routing these games, coming up with theory routes very easy, and then there are plenty of tools for like actually doing the math for you. Both in the community and then like the competitive scene has their own like calculators and stuff like that. It's very, if you know what you're doing, it's very easy to throw something together, even if it isn't, like, obviously it takes refining to make it really good, but you can usually come up with something pretty quick.
in the past, it used to take us like forever to whip out like a manipulas route, no RNG manipulation, which is this game because you can't actually do any RNG manipulation to like force good things to happen to you. In the past, it used to take a lot longer, but we have tools like ranger.metabreak.com now to speed those things up, and it's really nice. Like, there was a manipulas route I made for Platinum that would have taken 10 times longer without modern speedrun tools, so it's pretty sweet that we have this stuff now. Please just die. Nice. Wow.
Yay.
You need a basically max special attack with neutral nature or plus special attack nature to guarantee that range, so I got very lucky there.
This next fight is the reason I hate Pikachu. It's not the reason, it's one of the reasons. It is so unlikely to have the fight I had when I was trying to relearn this to get my 305.
Mm-hmm.
I had a speed tie with this stupid Sandshrew, and I kept underspeeding it when it used dig and then outspeeding it when it hit me. And I hate it. You need
so
like
sad.
minus speed and like 3 IV or something.
Yeah.
but
This
still,
thing's not very fast.
I hate this fight.
Yeah, I came up with some backup strats pretty recently, where if you don't get a Growlithe, your run's not completely dead by using Oddish for the section. It's still super dangerous because Oddish is generally pretty slow, and the Sandshrew can troll you, but at least your run doesn't always die. Whereas, like, in the past, the odds of your run dying if you don't get a Growlithe are pretty high. Am I going to avoid the Growlithe level up, too? Because that's pretty cool. Okay, that was not a smart decision. Sometimes you can low roll and not do, if your Growlithe's level 17, Zippy Zap Flamethrower might not kill. That was scary. I'm glad I have a good Growlithe. I don't know if it's worth it to deposit here. I'll deposit because I didn't get the level up.
Yeah, the reason you really want to like one-shot and outspeed that Sandshrew that Etchy just defeated is that it has like dig, sand attack, and fury swipe or something, like 3 awful moves. So you never
so
want to give it a
bad.
turn.
So this is Route 10, a route of dreams and nightmares.
Yeah, it usually doesn't matter what pace you're on. This route determines if you're continuing or not.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that, like I said, top runs, you're never going to like see them waiting for anything. Everyone waits here. Everyone will always wait here for at least everything to spawn. There are 4 spawn slots here because there's just so many good things to catch here. And especially in Pikachu versions, it's incredibly important. I'm learning Thunderbolt right now. Super powerful move. Pikachu's not a better special attacker, but Thunderbolt does a ton of damage because it's 95 base powered, or 90? They changed that, right?
I think it's 90, yeah.
90 now? Yeah. In other gens, it's 95. Ooh, okay, so Nidoran is what I really wanted here, especially the male Nidoran. Do you want to explain why, Amber?
Yeah, the reason is that soon we're going to be actually evolving this all the way up to Nidoking and using it as our main for a little bit. And so you really want to have this Nidoking, because if you don't find it, you have to use Nidoqueen, which is okay.
Yeah,
but
I
definitely
did some
slower.
reroutes, so it's not as bad as it used to be. On average, you're going to lose like 1 turn to Nidoking. It's still not like preferred, and there is still some risk. I had to go. Not exactly what I wanted for a Route 10. Well, all I did miss out on was Nidoqueen, but now my catch situation is really bad. But I still did not get any bonuses.
Still no bonuses. This route here is interesting for a couple of reasons. The first is after this fight, if he wants to, he can go back up.
Yeah.
The spawns that were there are just no longer there, and he's gonna get a fresh 4 spawns after this fight, which is new in this game, by the way. Like, this fight wasn't in the originals. They decided to add a little bit of story here.
Yeah.
The other thing is this route is probably one of the worst ones when it comes to another mechanic that doesn't really come up in speedrunning, but was very popular with casual, like, what's the word? Shiny hunters, which are catch chains. So This game has a catch chain mechanic where as you catch more of the same Pokemon in a row, different things will happen. And one of the things that will happen is the Pokemon that you are currently catch chaining is more likely to spawn. And that holds true with a catch chain of 1. So because the last thing that Etchy caught was a Nidoran male, Nidoran male is just a little bit more likely to spawn here. And it is very common to just sort of get stuck and have to, deal with the same catch or the same thing spawning over and over again, even though you just caught it.
So yeah, this is 15 poke enter rock tunnel.
Oh my
This is
god.
probably the lowest I've ever experienced in my entire life.
I've never been that low up to Rock Tunnel.
So here's the Graveler. It's very good to get this now because my EXP is incredibly bad. I would have preferred a glowing one, but it's okay.
Yeah, Etchy's also going to use the Raspberry there. That just increases the catch rate of the Pokemon just a little bit.
Yeah, raspberries are a very divisive topic in our community because we don't have any proof for how much they actually increase odds. So some people are very firm non-believers in them. And you can use a raspberry and things can still break out. There's also other variations like a silver raspberry, which increases it even more, which everyone is a believer in. And we will probably see those later in the run as well. So we got some evolutions, finally. I'm actually cool with doing a really low catch count run because I get to kind of show off all the potential backup strats that we can pull out that I usually don't, because the weird, like, this run's actually good in terms of pace and fights and the way the catches have gone. Like, I haven't had any breakouts. Everything's been okay. It's just I haven't caught enough. So I have 15 pokes entering this rock tunnel. I would say a normal run I have like 24 or 23. That would be the standard amount. At least now I'm up to 19. It's not too bad.
Yeah, and just like the really fun thing about Let's Go is that like pretty much every run you're getting into a completely like new situation. Like I've never been in a situation like this before, so I'm like very curious to see what Etchy does here.
This is gonna be great. Man, I could really... So in Rock Tunnel, we could get a Charmander. I would totally go for that this run. I desperately need a Charmander. Mm-hmm. I'm also probably going to cut through the grass and definitely get the Firestone early for Arcanine because I need to maximize my odds of getting good Pokemon that I need. I don't want to deposit yet. I want to catch one more thing. I didn't want to actually dismiss a trainer, but because I did, I'm just going to fight because otherwise I'd have to wait to resummon the trainer to start the encounter with the Cubone. But in Rock Tunnel, I'm looking for a Cubone, that Graveler, a Zubat, Machop, and Rhyhorn. Those are the standard ones. Rock Tunnel is another huge make or break point in the run. It's great that Route 10 and Rock Tunnel are right next to each other. Mm-hmm. A lot of runs die in Rock Tunnel, especially on Eevee version, because if you don't get a Rhyhorn, you just straight up lose like 40 seconds, and that kind of sucks. Because one mechanic we haven't talked about yet is ride Pokemon. I'm going to catch this Cubone.
Yeah, so some Pokemon in the game you can ride. There's no bike in the game, so the only way for you to move faster than running is to ride a Pokemon. There are a few Pokemon that are just like the same speed as walking, things like Kangaskhan and Snorlax. They may even be slower than walking. But there are Pokemon that will speed you up, and Rhyhorn, believe it or not, is one of them. If you've played X and Y, you may not believe that, but Rhyhorn zooms in this game. And then later on, we'll get an even faster Pokemon that I won't spoil yet. But if Etchy doesn't get a Rhyhorn here in Rock Tunnel, he can evolve Growlithe, which is usually a good thing to do anyways, but can evolve earlier than normal and guarantee himself that faster ride Pokemon a little bit earlier than normal.
Yeah, Arcanine is actually in the fastest tier of ride Pokemon, which is pretty sick. I'm not sure if I'm going to like definitely switch to it as my ride, but because I am getting the Firestone, I'm like 90% going to switch to it early. And if I don't get the Firestone there, the other place you would normally get it is in Pokemon Mansion in Cinnabar Island, but that's really, really late in comparison. Hopefully get some more spawns here. We at least got 2 things off the bat. Not too bad, but not exactly what I want. I really want to get Rhyhorn as early as possible, generally. The Gravelers.
Yeah, this area right here is where most of the things usually spawn.
What is this?
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna despawn everything.
Wow, good.
Because I had no way to avoid that encounter. Kangaskhan's a 1%, and you might be asking, why didn't you catch that? Because your poke count's really low, and that's because Kangaskhan is awful to catch. Same with Onyx at this point in the game. Onyx and Mount Moon's generally a little bit better, but really bad. Now, if I had Ultra Balls already, I would definitely go for it, because I am very low on pokes right now, but I do not.
Yeah. Kangaskhan's also only one Pokemon. It doesn't evolve into anything, so it's all that headache.
Oh my god.
One thing. That was very nice.
That's a good crit. That's like 2 really good crits I've gotten this run. Hopefully I get something. Okay, that's much better and much less rare than a Kangaskhan, so cool.
Sometimes it feels rarer than Kangaskhan.
Yeah. I feel like I never get this on Eevee, like Rhyhorns. And on Pikachu, I'm just drowning in Rhyhorns all the time. What are you doing? Attack me. Of course, of course.
That's classic.
That is the weird. So, we haven't really talked too much about how like Pokemon cycles work. All of us have practiced like all these Pokemon individually a ton. Each Pokemon behaves completely differently than other ones. A lot of them are very predictable in that like they're very likely to attack first cycle, or they're very likely to do this or that after doing this. And we just kind of have it all like memorized and worked out, and the timings for when you would throw like in the middle of an attack. Sometimes you can time the cycle perfectly so that you get an excellent as quickly as possible. And that's one of the things that will separate a lot of like, what the heck? Oh, that was an Onyx. I thought that was another Kangaskhan. That's one of the things that'll separate a lot of like newer runners from the more experienced ones, is just how they react to the Pokemon cycles. I've seen a lot more Golbats than Zubats.
I don't remember if we explained it in this run or not, but we are trying to aim for excellence as often as possible, just because they both make the catch rate better and they give you more experience. Excellent basically means that like that glowing circle that kind of shrinks when it's like very, very small and you throw it in the circle, it will give you like an excellent catch, which means you get more experience.
Yeah, for some Pokemon, I purposely don't even bother. Like the Zubat, I just throw the ball quickly, use a Raz to make the catch smoother, and that's it. Another Cubone. I still want Machop. It's not super required, except my poke count's incredibly bad, so I really do want it. But generally, it's not. So for reference, my PB, which finishes in 3 hours, 1 minute and 54 seconds, has not entered Rock Tunnel yet. And I am currently halfway through Rock Tunnel. Oh, there's a Machop. I'll just catch that one. You're going to see a lot of Nidoking in this section. And part of the reason why we use the Nidos in the first place is literally just because of Helping Hand. We literally need Helping Hand to beat Giovanni later. Like, without Helping Hand, you either need a Gloom or a Kingler to get through there cleanly. It's also nice for things like this Rhyhorn, where normally it's actually kind of hard to kill without the Helping Hand. The Nidos just help you cut down a lot of X items and also serve many different purposes in the run. So please give me Machop. Yay.
Yeah, you might hear like Etchy say like, oh, I like world record didn't even enter Rock Tunnel, I'm halfway through, and you might think, oh wow, is this world record pace? But you have to consider like the catch count, because Etchy has like way less catches than his like world record run had. He's not like really that far ahead, because eventually he's gonna have to make up all those catches.
Yeah, it was 10 pokes ahead of, or 10 pokes down from what my PB had.
Wow.
This run is good though. Like if all the catches work out beautifully, then this run's actually really good. But it's not an easy task. But that's everything I needed in Rock Tunnel. That was a pretty good Rock Tunnel to make up for how bad everything else was. So, I'm gonna cancel the lore whenever it prompts me again. This fight is one you can do a couple different ways, depending on both how much risk you want to take, your HP, and also just if you have your second controller out or not. The other option is to do this fight one controller, but there is some additional risk because this Vulpix can burn you. And if you didn't notice, I didn't buy any burn heals at all in this run. I also did not buy any... what's the other one? Not ice heals. Is there another one?
Burn heals, ice heals, and paralyze heals.
Paralyze heals. Oh, paralyze heals we don't need because Pikachu's electric type. You can't get paralyzed. But didn't buy any burn heals because there's just typically basically no opportunity to actually get burned in the run. And we also get some free items later. Actually have one right now where they're basically one-time use full heals. And they're very nice to have.
Yeah, the burn is extra bad on that fight too, because if you didn't know, when you get burned, the Pokemon's attack gets cut in half. And so if you get burned on that fight, you're likely to not one-shot the Vulpix and then does more damage on you, and then you'll be close to dying, and it's not very fun.
Yeah. Fortunately, every other time we get burned in the rest of this run, that attack drop won't matter, and you'll see why later. So, fun fact, I don't have to say that I've never been in this situation before, because I'm going to leave Rock Tunnel with 24 pokes, which I have actually done before in Eevee. I have been in this situation before.
That is so low.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to preemptively potentially plan Eevee and Flareon. So one of the other nice things of getting the early Firestone is that I can get a second Firestone, the one in Mansion I mentioned earlier. And because I'm running Let's Go Pikachu, that means I can catch an Eevee later, and I can use that Eevee to evolve it into Flareon and get 2 pokes out of it. Whereas if I was running Eevee, I'd already have an Eevee, so I wouldn't catch an extra Eevee on Route 17. So it's nice to just have that as an option as well. That helps a little bit more with some late game options. There's a lot of other stuff that I don't actually have planned as like bonuses, so I just don't expect to have to catch them. Things like Magmar, Tangela, what are some other ones? Ditto. And you generally don't want to rely on them, but if you do, it is what it is. You just got to catch them. Coming up on a rival fight here, this is where you're going to see the real reason why Nidoking is the best, because you actually just straight up save a turn, and this fight's much safer with Nidoking. Because Nidoking with Poison Jab is 80 pace power. It's a really strong move, and it gets that same type attack bonus that Etiquette was talking about. So it's really, really good for many reasons. I'm going to do this. Hopefully my special attack's good enough. My level's really low, so there's a chance this just doesn't die, and then I'll be extremely sad. Okay, good. I have missed this range before. So I'm going to just pump up Nidoking with another X attack here. And just going to one-shot everything else in the fight now with the magic of Poison Jab. This Gloom is super annoying. This is one part where Nidoqueen fails because you can't actually just one-shot the Gloom, and that's where you just take on more risk. Yeah, that was a 10 out of 16 range for that Thunderbolt, by the way. This Pikachu is not good if I haven't clearly expressed that yet.
But it's hasty. It's so fast.
It is hasty, that is true.
I don't know, I've seen a lot of good crits and good ranges on this Pikachu.
I didn't actually want a Zippy Zap there. I wanted to heal, but it's okay.
Pikachu has heart.
It's done its job. It got a lot of flinches, so whatever. I guess because I didn't heal it there, I either heal it in this next menu or I heal it and do early dog. Do I withdraw Growlithe now? I guess it doesn't matter. No, there's no point in withdrawing now because I have to mark it as my ride Pokemon anyway, and I don't want to do that yet. Is it better to... It is better to heal on the next menu, though. Because it's less inputs, because I will be also Firestoning. So yeah, I'm going to just escape rope on this menu and swap up Nidoking, and then I'll evolve into Arcanine and heal on the next menu. So yeah, that's the normal kind of thought process I go through like a million times during the run, is just kind of evaluating the best time to do certain tasks to lose the lowest amount of time. And that's why this run's so fun, is because there's just so much dynamic decision making you have to do that is super unique compared to other runs. And again, like, while I have been in the similar poke count situation, I've never been in this exact specific situation before, so it's super exciting as always. I'm going to swap up Nidoking here. We're going to actually main Nidoking for a little bit, but not that much. We're actually still going to dual main with Pikachu quite a bit for this next section, but we lead with Nidoking here because this is another nice advantage for Nidoking compared to Nidoqueen, because Nidoking comes with Crunch instead of Poison Jab. Clefairy, which is now a Fairy-type Pokemon in this game because that it was added in Gen 6 and this is a Gen 7 game. Clefairy is weak to poison, so we just one-shot it with Poison Jab. Otherwise, we'd have to two-shot it with Pikachu / Nidoqueen. Actually, I don't even think Nidoqueen can two-shot it. I think only Pikachu can.
Yeah, you use Pikachu there.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the Eevee version, usually you're two-shotting this Clefairy, and it always uses Metronome. So
Yeah.
every so often, Metronome is a move that basically just like pulls a random move from the game and then uses it. And if it uses like some super powerful move, you're just dead. And there's nothing you can do about it.
I have many very funny clips of me getting the weirdest things from this Clefairy. This is the only Metronome spot in the entire run, and I've gotten very good content out of it.
Yeah.
Much less so as a Pikachu runner, unfortunately.
Occasionally you get something that's like very minor. It'll be like, I don't know, Growl. And it's like, all right, whatever, I don't care. But then sometimes you get like, oh, Kinesis or Sand Attack into get put to sleep into Horn Drill or something. And it's just always good content.
Great. I mean, I've been early throwing a lot of these. I don't have Rattata yet. I might as well just catch this one here because one, my XP is low, and two, it's here. I might as well just catch it now. I would still prefer to see an Abra and a Jigglypuff in this next section. If I don't get either, we're a little bit of a scarier situation. One of the nice things I didn't mention earlier is that, so there's spinning trainers. There's one in this grass patch. And whenever you have an encounter, you actually freeze the spinning trainer for a little bit. You reset their cycle, I guess is a better way to phrase it. So I know it's safe to pass there. Nice.
So for Jigglypuff, you pretty much always want to just throw the ball immediately, because Jigglypuff loves to start just like floating away.
It's awful.
And once it starts floating, it's going to be up in the air for quite a while.
And it's like, even if you want to hit it, you're going to like miss anyway because it's impossible. It's awesome. So I'm going to, I guess I deposit one of Cubone or Machop here. I kind of have to. Take you away. So yeah, I'm gonna get that Growlithe now. I'm gonna put in the Rattata. And I guess I also do this. Because I need that Jigglypuff for later anyway, and I might as well just do it now. I still need to heal. I should have healed first.
Yeah, that's like a super unique situation. Just normally, what you would do is that you'd wait. Like, you're gonna need that, like, a fairy type Pokemon later in your party, and normally you'd put it in, like, right before the fight that you have to use it. But because Etchy just caught it and was already in the Pokemon menu there, like, he might as well just put it in at that point.
Cut out an entire menu later. And also, the Jigglypuff is higher level, so it's not going to gain like a ton of extra levels by throwing it in early.
Yeah, just another example of like a unique thing, because like I don't think I've ever done like that specific menu in a run ever.
One of the other unique things about getting Arcanine early is that because I already have the fastest mount possible, spoilers, later on we're going to be riding Rapidash for endgame because it's also in the same speed tier and it's higher level and it doubles as a doubles partner as well. But normally what you do is you catch Ponyta and you immediately rare candy it to Rapidash. But because I have this Arcanine, I could choose to just let the Ponyta level up naturally and not do that whole extra menu and save the rare candy. It just kind of depends on my situation. Like, is a Kadabra easy to catch? I've never tried.
I've never tried it.
It's not.
I do have Ultra Balls, though. I'm sure it would have been fine. Do you want to explain this, Attica?
Yeah, so because this game doesn't have abilities or anything, one ability that is useful in Pokemon is ability called Synchronize. Basically, it takes the nature of your Pokemon and turns every wild Pokemon into that nature. That doesn't exist for this game, but instead, Madame Celadon is there, and if you give her 10,000 Pokédollars,
It's a lot of money.
you can set the nature of every wild Pokemon you see for the rest of the day. So we've set our nature to be modest. That's going to be useful for some catches later on. It's also important to note that this works really well and synergizes really well with the whole double moonstone thing that we tried to do earlier. Because we set it so that way midnight was earlier in the run, we never have to worry about the clock rolling over and ruining our synchronize there. Early on, when double moonstone wasn't a thing, there definitely were runners who lost runs because their switch clock literally ticked over between now and like 30 minutes from now.
Yeah, I want to check my attack here. That is really low. Oh my goodness. It's not a big deal that it's really low. What's my attack? 255, okay. Man, both these Pokemon are bad.
Yeah.
Jeez. This is actually worse than my... So 2 days ago, I had my worst like Nidoking ever, which was 59 attack at level 28. This one's even worse. This one is 58.
Oh, man.
Again, not a big deal. I just have to adjust my strats. I will be able to tank a hit from this Hypno, so I don't have to heal Pikachu here, fortunately. And I'm actually going to heal it in battle. But this is a situation... This next fight's... the strat you do varies greatly depending on what your stats are and which Pokemon you're using. Normally, if you have like decent stats, you would just X-Attack Pikachu or Nidoking and just go for a one-shot and hope for the best. Usually Nidoking has a decent chance. Mine has 0 chance of actually doing that. So I'm going to instead go for a Headbutt, flinch, and it'll be guaranteed 2-turn fight, but there's nothing I can really do about it.
Yeah, just for comparison, like the average Nidoking that I would normally see would probably be like, I don't know, like high 60s attack. And like I saw a runner the other day get 80 attack on Nidoking at this level, and Etchy has 58.
Brutal. Didn't get the flinch, but I dodged Hypnosis, which is just as good. So perfectly fine fight. Because my attack is so low, I actually am forced to use an X attack on the next fight. It doesn't actually lose turns. It's the same amount of turns on average. But I do lose, like, if you have a really good Nidoking, sometimes you can win this fight in 2 turns. I'm going to X attack and then Poison Jab twice to deal with it. And in both Pikachu and Eevee, in this entire section, you can see a lot of like situational and stat dependent strats depending on whether you want a 1 controller, 2 controller, whether you want to heal or not heal. And it's actually a pretty interesting part of the run, this entire mid game, because we're incredibly underleveled. It kind of hits us pretty fast, especially as we keep going through here. Like Giovanni's Pokemon are like level 35, level 36. And for the most part, we've been kind of keeping up level-wise with everything up until then.
Yeah, I don't know what the game expects you to do. I think the game actually expects you to go fight Erica before you do Hideout.
Oh, I did not X attack. I'm very lucky I one-shot there. That is a range. Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's fine. It's you go from fighting like level 23 or so in Rock Tunnel, and then the grunts here. The grunts are always lower level than you in every area, and the grunts here are level 29.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show like how much of a level jump there is, and then there's going to be an even bigger level jump coming up in a few fights, which is just absurd.
Yeah, and it's, again, this is still the best thing to do, because our goal here is we're not specifically just trying to do all the non-store or all the required stuff before going to the gym leaders. What we're specifically trying to do is get surf as fast as possible. And the reason for that is because, well, it's not called surf in this game. It's called sea skim.
Sea skim, yeah.
I was like, wait, what is it called? Which is basically we ride on a surfboard and it's awesome. But we need Surf in order to access the last section of the game that we don't have access to yet, and also to main switch, and we'll again discuss that later. That's a nice safety strat you can do. You can either Thunderbolt that twice, or you can do 2-controller with an X-Spec and one-shot it. A little bit slower, but a much safer fight. This is the scariest part of the run for people who care about workplace safety. So if you're concerned about that, if you're, do people work for OSHA, or is OSHA like a?
I honestly,
code?
I don't know.
No idea.
I have no idea.
if you are involved with OSHA, don't look at this part. I stand up on this chair, this rolling chair, in order to put Pikachu into the vents here. Incredibly unsafe. I hope our trainer locked those wheels before going on there. And we're going to get that key that grunt rudely threw away.
This is like a really weird part of the game where you like control your starter. And I think
Yeah.
it's like the only point in the game where you do
Yeah.
this.
It
But
is
it's really funny. Like the first time I watched this game, it was like during this part, and I had no idea what was happening.
It's the Pokemon. Is it Pokemon Rumble clone where you control Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't have to. I have to just heal this, and then I need to rearrange my party members, like so. I didn't actually have to like go into the box to do so. Sometimes you can get lucky and not have to heal, and that would have been a really good situation to be in. It would have been really, really fast because I already did the Jigglypuff swap earlier.
Yeah, so it's been a little while since we saw our friends Jesse and James from Pokemon Yellow, also from the anime. But they are back, and they are madder than ever.
Yeah, these there's 2 Jesse James fights left, or there's 2 bad ones left, and they are in the next 15 minutes. One of them's right now, and boy, do they suck. They're much worse on Pikachu, I feel, because you're just generally opening up more opportunities for you to get crit. Because typically what happens here, especially because I don't have Rhyhorn in my party, sometimes if you have Rhyhorn, you can make this fight a little bit safer and nicer. But because of how bad my special attack is, I'm guaranteed like the worst fight possible here. So basically the strat is I'm going to focus on the Arbok. I'm going to let them purposefully kill the Jigglypuff so I have a free turn to set up. And then my Nidoking's gonna come in and just spam super potions on me, and that's literally all I can do while Pikachu slowly kills everything. It is brutal. And sometimes the AI like freaks out and bad things happen here, but that's not gonna happen here because this is GDQ. It's not gonna happen. See, it's fine. Okay, not getting poison's awesome. And my special defense is actually pretty decent for that to not knock me like below half HP. It's always nice.
Yeah, this fight, if you don't have something in slot 2 that's just gonna die, if you get double targeted in either game, it is basically over.
Yeah.
You really need to not get double targeted because you get poison jab will hit you, which I think is 30% to poison you, and then sludge bomb, which is, or I think this is sludge in this one.
Yeah.
Sludge bomb in the next fight.
Interesting.
It's yeah, not a pleasant fight. So you take the death purposely with the Jigglypuff. If you don't have a Jigglypuff, you can use Clefairy, which can be kind of funny because of friendship stuff. Or you use something else that's weak that's just gonna die.
Yeah, so that was actually pretty okay. Because I didn't get poisoned until pretty late, I was able to just use potions and save some super potions, which can matter later. I don't mind being poisoned right now. I'm actually gonna go into the next fight poison because you tend to get poisoned on this next fight regardless, so I might as well just deal with it and not menu extra. And I can still heal it away on the last turn of this fight. And so that was actually a higher level of poison called Toxic Poison. And that extra badness of it goes away on this fight. It's just a normal poison now, so it's totally fine. By the way, if you haven't noticed, so this is, a marathon Pokemon speedrun. You might be asking why I'm not like saving all over the place, why I'm not, taking extra precaution. The cool thing with Let's Go is you really don't have to. You get extra revives in this game for free. We got them after Cerulean. And we have a full party full of Pokemon, so if I die, I just revive and go back in. Nothing really bad happens. I can also always bail myself out with the 2 controller stuff if needed in places where I'm not already 2 controllering, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and... Oh, go ahead, Amber.
No, you can go ahead.
All right, so the other thing I was going to say is experience in this run, like, is always so flexible because of, like, everything that you're catching, that even if you lost experience on something and, like, let's say he dies to the Golbat coming up, and Pikachu loses experience for it, it's not a big deal. Like, you would probably be in that situation on a different run if you just got, like, 1 less excellent throw.
Yeah, the fights are routed like so safely that like there's a couple fights near the end that Etchy will likely save for, but like throughout this part, there's like so many safety nets that there's really no point.
Yeah. And one thing I haven't really talked about, so in that specific situation, I actually could have gotten away with a potion on Nidoking, but I would have used my last potion. And inventory management's actually a really key, important factor that every runner pays attention to throughout the run, and all of our shops are routed around basically putting our items in the best kind of situation possible and making it work out correctly. And we basically want to optimally get to the X items we need in 1 input or as few inputs as possible. So this entire time I've been getting to X attack by pressing up once, or getting to X special attack by pressing left once, and your cursor is always reset whenever you re-enter it. So I'm going to press up once, get to my X attacks. I'm going to triple X attack Pikachu here. Takeout's great. And now with +6 attack, the maximum attack boost you can use with X items, I'm going to zippy zap here. And then you may think +6 attack is pretty high. Surely you can kill this Rhyhorn with double kick. No, you cannot. It's really, really tanky for a couple reasons. 1, because it's super high level. 2, because it's a Rhyhorn. And 3, because Let's Go likes to jack up a lot of random enemy Pokemon with more HP AVs and other stats as well. So you have the Helping Hand and be at +6 to one-shot it. It's crazy.
Also, that Persian there is probably the only thing in the run that actually outspeeds Etchy. That Persian is so fast that with an X speed, if your EV is minus speed, it can still outspeed you.
Yeah.
But because of Zippy Zap being priority, it doesn't matter. Like 106 speed or 105 speed, something absurd like that.
Kind of evaluating my Pokemon situation right now. It's actually not as dire as I thought, because I do have Pidgey available. So if I just like get everything else, I don't even need to rely on like Eevee Flareon. Like I need Psyduck, I need the late Pidgey, Ghastly, that kind of stuff, and I'm actually gonna be fine, surprisingly. I'm at 29 pokes right now. This run's actually really good. if the catches work out, this run's actually, I don't want to say
Getting
it.
a super high level Pidgey is really nice because you can catch the Pidgey, then in 1 level evolve it to Pidgeotto, and then in 1 more level evolve it to Pidgeot. So basically you're getting 3 for 1.
I'm going to grab some extra Ultra Balls here. This is a strat I sometimes do. And this run I'm doing it because I still have a lot of things to catch. So it's either you grab those or you grab the Ultra Balls in Tower. The ones in Tower are much faster to grab, but there's 2 less Ultra Balls. And those Ultra Balls take me basically 6 seconds to grab. And that trade-off is probably going to matter for the extra 2 balls. It'll be really, really nice. So I'm going to pop a lure, and then we're going to go to Pokemon Tower, which is a pretty scary place, both because it's like Pokemon Graveyard, which is naturally scary, and 2, all the spinning trainers there scare you and give you jump scares. And then 3, Ghastly never shows up when you want it to. And then of course Jesse James at top is like one of the hardest or like dumbest fights in the game in terms of just like how underleveled you are. Ghastly's also going to be the first Pokemon you'll see me use a Nanab berry on, which is basically a type of berry that instead of a Raz, which increases catch rate, it actually, I guess, increases catch stability. It basically makes them stop moving or slow down a bit. And it also affects how quickly their circle shrinks, because normally it shrinks pretty quickly, but it like goes probably like 1/3 of the speed or something once the Nanab kicks in. But Nanabs are also really funky because sometimes they don't immediately kick in, and then they kick in when you don't expect them to after you used it, and then weird things happen, and then you just miss the cycle completely.
So right here, Etchy's gonna first pass the spinner right here, and then on the next floor, the spinner that he's gonna pass can either turn like left or right, but it doesn't even matter because, oh, the spinner didn't do it there. But if that spinner turned left, you could like squeeze between the wall and the site of that trainer and basically still be able to just walk through anyways.
Yeah. It is pretty tight though, so it is easy to mess up, and I have messed it up on, I think especially Eevee runs before I messed it up a lot. My attack's kind of bad here. Might not die. Yep, I shouldn't have said anything.
That is a really funny interaction.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch failed, even though it's priority and you attacked because you attacked first.
Yeah, Zippy Zap's pretty busted.
That's actually really cool.
I've had similar things happen in, I think Heart Gold Soul Silver. Yeah, where I've like mirror move Sucker Punch, and we both just like do nothing basically. I'm not gonna risk this.
I'm so used to BDSP spinners right now. I'm like, why aren't you going? Just go.
That was brutal. That was a really weird and unlucky spinner cycle. I really want Ghastly here. If I don't get Ghastly, this gets hairy very fast. Then basically force into Eevee, and Eevee doesn't always show up. So if I don't get Eevee, then I have to do like Magmar and Tangela or some nonsense like that. This Haunter has less defensive stats, and I'm also higher level, so it will die.
Yeah, the nice thing about spinners in this game is that in this game, instead of like kind of spinning just like whenever they feel like it.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to
in
pick these up. Whoops. Autopilot. No.
In this game, they kind of like they on a timer, and then once that timer like ends, they will always spin.
Yeah, so you'll never have a spinner that's stuck. It may be like in your way, but then it'll move usually pretty quickly. So.
Well, now I have a ton of extra Ultra Balls, so that's cool.
Yeah. And it's also a little bit sad. So there was a Ghastly that spawned right before triggering this cutscene, but because the cutscene was triggered, that Ghastly is no longer there.
Please spawn, please. I think I have to like wait a couple, but if I wait and nothing spawns, I'll be sad. Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah, Ghastly's like super finicky. Like you can be waiting there for like a full minute and just like nothing will show up. So it's like
I like even took a purposefully wider path to give me a couple more seconds there and nothing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna regret not
Pokemon
catching that
tend to-
Venonat from earlier, I'll tell you that.
Pokemon tend to like to spawn in like big open areas, and Pokemon Tower is very congested and maze-like, so it unfortunately just has a little bit less likelihood to spawn stuff.
yeah.
Alright.
Typically, I have two experiences with Pokemon Tower: either nothing spawns or like 20 Pokemon spawn.
Yeah.
Haunter spawns, blocks the whole floor.
Yeah.
I don't want you.
Haunter's gigantic. Yeah. This game actually does a relatively good job with like Pokemon scale in the overworld. Except some things are just much larger than you expect them to ever be. Okay, so this fight's exactly the same. The difference though this time is that one, they're higher level, but two, Weezing actually has more moves and is more likely to actually hit Nidoking this time, whereas it pretty much never does it normally in the other fight. Now it has like Flamethrower and Dark Pulse.
Dark Pulse.
Yeah, the original fight only has Toxic and Sludge, so it'll never hit like the poison type Nidoking. Yikes. Not getting poison's cool. I was hoping it would hit Nidoking there so I don't have to heal, but nothing I can do. You may have noticed my Pikachu just turned around when I healed it. It wants to explain friendship.
Sure. So,
Not in the game, just in real life.
Oh, well, I don't know if I can explain that, but I can explain it in the game at least.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So in this game, there's this like mechanic called friendship, and friendship can be increased on a Pokemon by like using X items on it, or defeating gym battles, or walking around with it like outside of the Pokeball. And there's like a bunch of different things, like at different friendship values, there's like different things that can happen. Specifically, when a Pokemon hits 153 friendship, it will start doing these things called turnarounds. And basically, every time you like heal the Pokemon, or if it uses a super effective move, it will turn around and look at your trainer and be like, wow, I'm doing a great job, right? And it wastes 2 seconds every single time. So you really, if you can, you want to try to avoid it.
Yeah, unfortunately, this game doesn't really have any good ways to avoid it. Friendship is actually a problem in BDSP, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, the game that was just released. And we can sort of get around it by using a lot of herbs, things like energy roots, energy powders that lower friendship. In these games, unfortunately, we just sort of have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But there actually is some careful planning that goes into friendship routing for the next main. We're no longer using Pikachu.
Oh yeah, I deposited Pikachu. If you didn't notice, we're done with it. We're leading Arcanine just because it's fast, so it'll outspeed this next thing we're actually going to run into here. I could see a Pidgey on this next route. That'd be pretty sweet to see it like before I even enter Route 17. You can also get a Dodo here. I could go in there. I might as well, because it gives more time for a Pidgey to spawn potentially. But this is a Snorlax, and you might be thinking, "Ooh, cool, free Pokemon. You might as well catch it." Wrong. We will not be catching a Snorlax, even though I love Snorlax. There's a Munchlax behind me. I love Snorlax, one of my favorite Pokemon. But unlike most of the normal Pokemon encounters in this game, I actually have to fight this. We didn't really explain that. This is like a Pokemon Go clone and a Gen 1 Yellow remake. And this is one of the few fights that is more in line with Gen 1, where you actually have to fight the Pokemon first and then you can catch it. But because that's really slow, we're just not going to worry about it. We're just going to move on. And it's also not like an easy thing to catch, so that's part of the reason as well. I'm going to catch a Doduo. Hopefully we see a Pidgey while I run to it or run away from it. Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, Dodo is a Pokemon that you almost always want to catch, because we will be using it on one particular fight later.
My favorite fight in the run.
If you don't get Dodo, you have to use Rapidash for that particular. Well, for it depends on which fight. There's 2 fights you might be talking about. If you have to use Rapidash for the one in Silphco, and if you don't hit Fire Blast, your run is dead. So
Yeah.
that's what happened to me this morning on my good run. So yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a little bit different now with like a lot of the more modern Pikachu strats and even some of the Eevee ones, but that fight is one of my favorite uses of 2 controller strats.
Yeah.
Also, sort of like the spinner pass that we didn't quite get to show off in Pokemon Tower, you can skip underneath this person's vision just by hugging the wall. That trainer should be required, but the vision is just narrow enough that you can get right past it. Right past him.
Nothing's spawning. Okay. I do not want a Pidgeotto. I want a Pidgey. I really want Psyduck and Rapidash as well here. I will probably have to wait if nothing happens, though.
Do you still have a repel?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Which is scary. At least we got this. I can get the Pidgey later. It's not a big deal. I just really need Ponyta here. I cannot afford to leave without Ponyta. And again, I really want Eevee as well. That was really risky. There was...
Yeah.
Psyduck's one of those Pokemon that always attacks first cycle, but sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you feel like a clown. So I wanted to... What?
Huh.
Wow.
Come on, dude. Hey, good thing I got 13 Ultra Balls. That was the first breakout of the run, by the way. An excellent Psyduck, which never happens. That never breaks out. Very cool. I feel like every good run falls apart on this route, no matter what.
Yeah,
Like, it
for
doesn't
sure.
matter. Like, your run, like, no matter how good your run is, you're gonna lose time here because something insane is gonna happen every time. You saw me pick up the Silver Rises. Those will be very useful for later. Okay, at least I got Ponyta. I don't have to stick around for Pidgey, so I will not be doing so. At least that was a good cycle. But yeah, so now my only chance for late Pidgey is going to be on the grass patch when I start surfing down from Cinnabar. This is going to be like my lowest C-skim time ever. This is so stupid. There's Marowak at least. And I could still get Abra. Abra's a last minute, kind of last ditch effort thing I can get. It's not super clean, but it is a backup I can get. I just have to grind for it potentially. So let's see. This is Marowak. I really wanted Eevee here, but if I don't get it, it's fine. I'm just forced into Magmar and Tangela and extra junk now. So yeah, this run has been pretty smooth up until this point. That's changing now because I had to catch some bad stuff because I kept putting off my catches longer and longer, and this is the result. We're gonna have some fun now.
Yeah, sometimes you get like a whole bunch of Pokemon in the early game, and then you barely have to catch anything here. And then sometimes you get a run like this, where you have to catch like everything.
Yeah.
Oh, just how Let's Go goes sometimes.
Yeah, happens. But this is the last like required story thing we have to do. We're gonna get Surf, or C-Skim, as it's called in this game, and now we can finally start doing some gyms. In order to unlock the next gym we're gonna do, which is Blaine's gym, as I kind of spoiled it already, we have to go to Pokemon Mansion first and get the secret key, and then after that, it's basically a jamboree of gyms, or a gymboree, and just drill through them as quickly as possible. And hopefully it turns out
steal
okay.
that term.
Yeah, I thought of that on the fly. Trademarked, copyrighted. I demand royalties.
All right, fine. I agree to
Any
these
future
terms.
301s are mine, so. This is a 146 C-Skim.
What?
What's your count?
33.
33 is like a tunnel exit count. What is this?
I am down 10 pokes for my PB.
Oh my god.
This is a great marathon run to show off, because this is insane. And again, if
Usually
everything just
on
works out perfectly, this run's actually not bad. This run could actually PB.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is it gonna
Usually you're
happen?
like,
No,
oh, I'm
but it
down one poke, or I'm down 2 pokes. And here it's just like, oh, I'm down 10 pokes.
Yeah, no big deal.
Casually.
I mean, I think I was a little bit too aggressive probably with running through. Like, I don't know, the Route 10 thing was stupid though. I really, like, just for Nidoran and Krabby, it's not super likely. I think that's not a bad, like, that decision is not bad in a vacuum, but the result, oh no, Pidgey. Oh no.
Oh.
no.
That's really bad. No Tangela either. That's at least. All right, folks, we have a problem. We have a big problem now.
Oh, man.
Easy. So yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to get the triple Evo Pidgey. I can only get the normal Pidgey now, which is worth 2 Evos. I'm not getting Eevee anymore. Woo! I'm gonna have to make a poke somewhere. Ooh, I have 47 planned right now. We're gonna make this work.
Get the forbidden Diglett.
I could
Oh,
get
you
the
gonna
forbidden
say,
Diglett.
the
I could get
Diglett.
the forbidden.
Drowsy.
I can get the forbidden
Wow.
Moonstone.
Oh, the Moonstone's actually not a bad idea.
I shouldn't Soul Razz this actually. I only have 1 more now, and I have some other bad things to catch. So this is our new main. This is our main for the rest of the run. We're going to be using a Staryu. It is surprisingly insanely broken and perfect for what this run needs, which you might not think. It's one of those like perfect storm things where it's just exactly the right situation for this run, where we catch it at a super high level at just the right time. So we jump from a level like 30 Pikachu to level 43 Staryu. We also get a lot of other benefits, like water psychic typing is a really good combo in general. I'm also out of lures. I should have picked the super lure because I need to catch all these stuff.
Yeah, water psychic's really good. Psychic in general in Kanto Gen 1 is just really, really good. Dark types don't exist. And bug is just not very prevalent. In addition, water is really good. The only two types that water is, or that are super effective against water, are electric and grass. Those are the 3rd and 4th gym leaders respectively, and we're like 15 to 20 levels higher than that now. So like those aren't exactly going to be a problem when we get to those fights. So
I'm gonna do this now. Get this out of the way, because Ponytail's not actually gonna evolve quickly enough here just naturally, because I didn't catch enough stuff. And I didn't catch enough like really well. So I'm also gonna throw on those candies on the start. And we're gonna see if we have a good one. Again, the only two sets that actually really matter are special attack and speed. Special defense can matter and lose you a good chunk of time if you're me on my EVPB, because you can take a lot of damage when you don't want to later. I'm going to apply these. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna triple candy this. It's pretty decent special attack. The speed's a little lacking.
yeah, small thing, it's very important to candy before you use the water stone. Starmie doesn't learn any moves via level up, but Staryu gets Hydro Pump at level 45, and we need Hydro Pump for later. As much as I hate it,
We do need it.
Hydro Pump for later.
It is unfortunate, but yeah, it's just too important. We need that extra damage, unfortunately. Because the other move we're going to be using for attacks are, well, there's 3 moves. We're going to be using Scald, which I'm about to teach. We're going to be using Psychic, and we're going to be using Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt we get as a TM from Surge later, so I'll teach that when we get there. And we get pretty good coverage as a result of that. Water, Psychic, and Electric, I almost said Thunder, covers basically everything you need for a lot of this run.
Yep, there is one Pokemon that you don't hit for at least neutral, and that one Pokemon is actually on a fight coming up very soon. But we'll use something else for that.
Grimer. So yeah, I really want to see a Magmar in here. Not a great Pokemon to catch, but it will get me towards that 50 requirement. Ditto's awful and even worse than Magmar, but I will take it if I see it. There's Dodrio. I really want Machoke to level up already too. Let's see what else we have here. So yeah, Abra does fix a lot of things if we get an Abra, and Abra we can at least grind for. I can just re-enter and exit this like building to give me a chance at Abra. It's only 4% or something, but it's better than nothing. We can do Forbidden Diglett and Forbidden Drowsy. Normally, if you get to this point in a PB attempt, you would simply reset. If things got this bad. Dismiss that. But hopefully we'll see something else I could catch here. I do have the lure up still. It's not going to last much longer. Do not want Muck. Not Raticate. Magmar at least would be good.
Magmar usually shows up like pretty quickly. Kind of unlucky to not see one by this point.
Mm-hmm. So this is a very cursed fight. Not a fan of it at all. This is Ted. There's a safe way to do this fight and a fast way to do this fight. I am doing the fast way because it is very unlikely for it to go badly for you. But this Electrode sucks. You have to 2-control this fight. You can't 1-controller it because you cannot kill this Electrode without using an X item, and it will 2-shot you.
before we allowed for 2-controller, this was either the worst or second
Nice.
worst fight in the entire run.
Yeah, so I got the perfect situation there where it hits Thunderbolt on Rapidash. It's 50-50 on which one it targets. That's Golduck already? Wow. Okay. Joke. If it targets Starmie, that sucks. It does a lot of damage to you, and it also means you're forced to take a bad heal later, which will just full heal your entire party. And if it hits Starmie, it could paralyze you, which is even worse. Because then you, if you catch yourself in the paralysis, you are just dead. There's not much you can do at that point. The good news is my poke count's catching up. The bad news is I don't really have like a plan going forward. Like I have 41 right now. It's not that unreasonable. I do need to put Grimer in my party. I think that's the only thing that needs to go in there. Yeah. I might have to put that in pretty soon because otherwise it's not going to get enough levels. Is there another time to do it? Not really. Because I opened up 2 slots right now. But I'm gonna need like more slots than that to evolve everything later. I can't even like grab, like I could grab the Firestone here, but I have nothing to use it on, so there's basically nothing I can do here. Is this like go shop at Celadon strats time? Is that I could Leaf Stone Gloom. That's like it, right?
You know, I knew from Rock Tunnel this weekend it was gonna be this type of run.
Yeah, this is, come on. Where's the Magmars? I'm getting so many mucks and they're so rare. Like, I gotta at least get a Magmar game, come on. Or a Ditto? Please? Where'd something spawn?
These are like the most unlucky spawns you've ever seen in a run. Like,
Yeah,
actually,
this is
in my like 3 years of playing this.
This has never happened before. I'm gonna
Real
do this.
GDQ
He
moment.
said the thing. He said the line.
I'm gonna deposit this. Yeah. There you are. I wasn't sure where the escape rope was. I wanted to deposit that just because I need to catch more things and they need to get levels and evolve. I never marked Rapidash. Okay, this is dangerous. So yeah, if I get Pidgey and Abra, I'm only 1 poke down, so I was really hoping to get that Magmar. Moonstone's not the worst play, I guess. What are my other options besides Diglett? Here's a little fun quiz. Play along at home in the chat, and maybe you'll be able to challenge Blaine too. You need 8 gym badges, yes. I'm probably mashing too fast for anyone to actually answer these questions, I'm sorry. This is my favorite part of the game because Pikachu's just so happy the entire time and like so angry there.
Yep.
And he has like the best expression when you win the quiz. If you miss any of these questions, by the way, you find an optional, so it's not great. Don't mash too fast, dude.
Yeah, I honestly get like super stressed out because I would like never pick the wrong option, but if you do, your run's just like
look at
over
the face.
instantly.
So this fight is generally okay, but you can get trolled pretty hard here. This is like a 158 Blaine. So what can happen here? Generally what happens is he leads Confuse Ray and then Flamethrower, and then you win because you're just going to sped up the next spec turn 1, and then you're going to heal away the confusion. Sometimes you get lucky, you don't get confused. Sometimes you get unlucky and you get burned off the Flamethrower, and that's really bad. You do not want that to happen. Very lucky.
Oh.
Skip
Nice
that
fight.
entire Confuse Ray healing turn.
And I believe you also outspeed everything in this fight. I'm not confident on that. But if you have like a bad speed Starmie, you can not outspeed the Rapidash. And if you have a really, really bad speed Starmie, you cannot outspeed the Ninetales either.
Yeah.
And if you're super slow, there's like a pretty good chance you just die by the end.
Yeah.
If you don't activate enough things.
And that's the nice thing with triple candy now is I don't think you ever can get outsped by Ninetales with it, or it's like at worst a speed tie, and that helps things quite a bit. Rapidash can hit pretty hard, even though it uses Flare Blitz, which is a fire type move. It still does a pretty good chunk of damage. It really sucks I didn't get one Pokemon there, because then this could have still actually worked out really nicely. But now I have to do some really slow thing to get one extra Pokemon. I'm still not sure
Go
which
get
is the best to do.
Aerodactyl is not the idea.
It's either Diglett, Drowsy, or the Moonstone. It's probably the Moonstone. That's
Moonstone is the right answer. If it's
Yeah.
those three.
Yeah.
which house is it in again?
It's
just left of the dojo.
yeah.
There's only like one house you can enter there, I think.
Left of dojo, go upstairs, and you talk to the closet.
So do you just go there after Sabrina? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, it's like all the way left, right?
Yeah, it's in like the left side of the city.
Okay.
Like you gotta go like kind of like past the gate.
So yeah, little Gymboree action right now. We're gonna go fight Surge, the 3rd gym leader, after beating Blaine, the 7th gym leader. It's gonna be a very fair and balanced fight. And again, you might be asking, why didn't you just do this earlier while you're here? And the answer is because we can do it way faster with a over-leveled Starmie.
And not only is the actual fight going to be faster, if you beat Surge on the first time you're here, you have like a little like 1 minute long cutscene with Misty when you exit. It's like really weird. She's like, "Here, come with me. We're gonna go get Flash," and you're like, "I don't want to. I want to go beat the game."
I don't think I've ever seen this cutscene.
Yeah. She like brings you to Diglett's cave and is like, "Here, you can go through Diglett's cave now."
Wow. I do need that. I do need Diglett, so I'd be okay with that. Take me away, Misty.
That puzzle's always the same, by the way. It's not really a puzzle.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about this game, unlike every other game that has this gym. Yep, we're just gonna one-shot everything here, nice and easy. So this part of the run is pretty different from the first 2 hours. I do still have to catch things, but generally you're done catching stuff. And it's basically just standard Pokemon speedrun where you just try to win fights as optimally as possible. You take a lot more risk in this section because the fights are just harder in general. And there's some pretty bad fights coming up, which I'm excited to have good luck on because this is a marathon and that's how that works.
Yeah, usually this part is kind of like the calm before the storm.
Yeah, this is the part where you're like sweating and your hands are like a little clammy, but there's nothing to mess up really here except for like the fly menus. But it's because you're just nervous for one of the worst fights in the entire game coming up soon. Which I'm very excited about personally. So yeah, now that we have Thunderbolt, we're going to go teach that. I'm also going to heal up Starmie here. It will matter later. That's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, recover. My special attack's pretty mediocre, actually. I thought it was higher.
I mean, I've seen much worse,
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
I've also seen much better.
I would say in general, my Starmie luck is nothing to write home about. I'm actually going to check right here first, see if there's anything I can catch. And then I'm going to go fight Erica. I'll grind there later. There's no point in doing it now. Actually, I guess I probably should have just ran in. Should I just ran into Saffron and then ran back now and then fly it? No, because I'm going to have to grind. I could have just grinded now for Abra and Pidgey. Would that have been better?
I have no idea.
Again, this is a
like
really
uncharted
bizarre
territory.
situation. This would never happen normally. So
I think it'd probably break even. Like, you're not gaining that much experience on this fight.
yeah, so the confusion there is because after this fight, what you do is you fly to Celadon, even though we were already in Celadon, because it's just faster. You skip like the cut animation and you just spawn at that Pokemon Center again. Flying is pretty fast in this game. But I don't have Saffron unlocked yet, so I actually have to run to Saffron still. And I couldn't do it earlier because I didn't have the T from Brock earlier. But this is just another super easy fight. We're going to spam Psychic. And this is the last like super easy fight for the rest of the run. Outside of like the random trainers here and there that just have like a Graveler or something.
Yeah, this gym's really strange because it seems like 5 trainers should be able to see you, but because for some reason their vision is like super short, like just no one can see you.
Yeah, they're short, and also trainers just have very... It's like, imagine a laser coming out of their forehead. That is their line of sight, basically. Like a super thin laser, and if you cross that line, that laser, you trigger an encounter.
I'm imagining like those spy movies where like once you touch the laser, it like sets off an alarm.
Exactly. And that's basically what dodging optional trainers in this game is. It's just going through those laser trips. One of my favorite things in this game is that like a lot of the battle scenes, every building you're in just suddenly turns into a circle, like this one. It still looks great. It's just very funny and very weird how like every building morphs around you as you enter a battle. And this is another fight that if we could do this our first trip to Celadon, it's just much worse and much slower. So I'm actually going to do the Rapidash strat because I don't have Dodrio in my party for this next fight, which is the one I was referring to earlier. We're actually going to fight the individual who is normally our rival in like the original games of this. His name is Blue. And it's another like kind of added story thing where even though he's not our rival, we're going to fight him really quickly. He only has an Executor and a Charizard. I should have... And sometimes he causes problems. Sometimes he's not the best. But before we do that, I have to get an Abra and a Pidgey. I can't not get that. I have to get them. No matter how long it takes. Okay.
Oh.
Let's go.
Oh, wow.
So Abra specifically has a weird overworld quirk, which if you approach Abra from the front, it poofs away. But you have to make sure you approach it from like behind.
Yeah.
So that Abra was actually a little precarious.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
this like particular situation as well, like because like Etchy kind of had to go like around and really close to the loading zone of that guardhouse. If he goes in that loading zone, the Abra despawns, and it's very, very sad.
Yeah, and even though Rapidash is like kind of a thin ride Pokemon, the hitbox is gigantic. Sometimes you just accidentally enter buildings when you don't expect to, and it's awful. Growl is definitely going to run right into me as I try to run away.
And now, because you got that Pidgey and Abra so quickly, this run's like still really good.
I mean I don't think I can PB anymore, but I can actually like 302 off of this, I think. Which is pretty funny. So yeah, I'm gonna get the Moonstone after Sabrina, and then that'll bring me to 50 pokes, and then I'll be okay. Actually, I'm not okay. Of course, right? Like, aren't I screwed still? Because my XP is really bad. Oh no, because Silphco's still coming up. Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna fight Sabrina and then they're not gonna level up. What am I gonna do? This is fine. And I'm gonna use that Moonstone on the Clefairy I caught forever ago. Oh no, I'm gonna use it on the Jigglypuff because I have a Jigglypuff. Nice. Jigglypuff is like the optimal thing to use an extra Moonstone on because unlike everything else that you would use it on, it doesn't learn a move on evolution, so it's really fast. Let's see how this Archer goes. Well, Blue first, which is going to be scary because again, Had to hit a Fire Blast. Maybe it'll just work out. Who knows?
Fire Blast is 85% accurate, which in Pokemon means it's like 10%
Never gonna hit.
really.
It's actually 85 times how good your run is. So the better the run, the lower the odds are.
Of course. One of my favorite mechanics they added in
I
this
know,
game.
yeah. The live split integration, pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the Blues Executor here is literally the only type combination that Starmie can't hit for at least neutral.
It's the reason why it's really bad if you miss Fire Blast here is because it has light screen, and it likes to use it. So if it throws up that light screen, then Fire Blast no longer does a lot of damage to it, and you also have problems with the Charizard right after. But we're not gonna. That's not gonna happen here. We're just gonna win.
Classic.
All right, so that's the backup. It's still scary, and I have to go for a Hydro Pump now. And I'm also gonna try to go for a Fire Blast still on Rapidash just to improve my odds here of winning. Because this Hydro Pump still might not kill. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. Normally, the way that the fight goes is you have Dodrio in slot 2, and you can X attack the Dodrio and Drill Peck, and that's guaranteed. But with the way the party space worked out here, it wasn't possible.
Yeah, that was actually the first like bad fight of the run, so that's pretty cool. What the actual correct thing to do there is X-Spec and Hydro Pump, but I figured, I'm sure Rapidash can finish it off, and I was a fool. Does Charizard like always outspeed there? The Rapidash? I feel like that's probably the case, yeah.
My knowledge of this game pretty much just goes to what I've experienced in speedruns, and past that, I have literally no idea.
So this is the
What
worst
was your
fight in the
question?
entire game.
Oh yeah, this fight sucks.
Yeah.
This is Archer. Technically, this is Archer 2. This is a double battle. This is one of the only true double battles in the entire game, where Trace is our partner here, or one as we refer to him, and he uses a Cubone, which is awful. And then 2, this fight has a cute little gimmick, cute little gameplay mechanic where. Like other fights, you do things and then things instantly happen. Like you pick a move and then things, like the turn takes place. That doesn't happen here. You wait many seconds between picking a move and things happening. That is not the best start, but that's okay. And it's not great. It's not what you want to see. Already? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, Abra gets a boost, but also Pidgey will get the boost too, so it should evolve here soon. There's an EXP boosting mechanic in later gens where if you're like over the level needed to evolve, you actually gain EXP faster. All right, please do not hit me, and then this is okay. And I would like Cubone to focus energy here. That was perfect. That's less perfect. Cubone's gonna die. This is gonna be like a 5-turn fight, which is totally okay. Not a big deal. This is like the average Archer fight. A good fight is 4 turns, and that only happens if Cubone is a complete homie, or if you don't get incredibly unlucky on the first turn. But 5 turns is very normal and very average.
Mm-hmm. You can do it in 3 turns, but you pretty much need everything to go right to get 3 turns, so
never
it's
happens, so.
pretty unlikely.
Goodbye, Cubone. It's actually faster for it to die now, because it was going to die regardless. And the rest of it wasn't too bad. Yeah, this run's like high 302, low 303 pace. It's not bad. Is it not Pidgeot? Really?
Pidgeot, huh.
It's because none of the poison types are alive still. That's pretty interesting, though.
I've never seen that before.
Nice crit. That was scary. Okay, so we have Muck now, and we have... Yeah. And we have Pidgeotto. Okay. Oh, yeah, so also else is the... Wait, did Tentacool already evolve? It did, right? Yeah,
It did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the Moonstone now. Not too bad.
Yeah, coming up next is the final Jesse and James fight. And luckily, because we have a psychic type and quite a
Finally.
powerful one at that, this fight's so much easier than the other three.
Nice little triple evolution. It's a little lame that like Abra and Pidgey were super low level because they're probably going to gain another level, but it's still better to not mess with it until I go into the menu again. It's not worth it to like deposit them now. I'm not going to menu until I get the Moonstone basically from... It's like behind the bed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember... So the Moonstone we're going to grab is a backup that you would never grab on like a world record pace run because it's just too slow. But it's very safe and consistent. And I remember trying to find it in one of my first Let's Go Eevee runs where I was like, okay, well, I need one more poke. This is my only option. And I just couldn't find it in the room. I was just like mashing everywhere and I could not find it until like after the run was already like beyond dead. I looked it up and I finally found it. Because I was just going off like the description off websites, like it's in this room, and I was like, I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. Like, where is it? And it's like hidden behind the bed, so you can't even like, even if it was a visible item, you wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, routing's very fun because you'll look up where an item is and it will just say, oh, it's in this area somewhere, and then you gotta go on the hunt to find it.
Always a good time. So yeah, nice and easy Jesse James fight with Psychic. I just one-shot both of them. Not a big deal. Rapidash is dead. Who comes out here? Is it Grimer?
Grimer?
Probably Grimer, yeah.
I thought I saw Grimer in the next spot. Yeah.
No, Rapidash is alive. Full heal.
Oh, full heal. Yeah.
I'm silly.
Yeah.
I swear I played this game before.
Yeah, I forgot to. Don't worry. So you get fully healed after the Archer fight.
Yeah.
Which
Rapidash
is
has
really
one nice
nice.
benefit too, where it has Stomp. So I could just flinch this Weezing. You don't want to see Thunderbolt because then I have to heal if it hits Starmie. Oh my gosh, Kadabra, stop. Oh, unlucky. At least I didn't get paralyzed. Aside from blue, everything else was like fine. Like the 5-turn Archer it is what it is. You take it if
Yeah.
your run can take it, you know? It's fine. It's what you expect. I mean, they're definitely gonna get in a level off Sabrina, jeez. Alright, and now we're gonna do a little Giovanni fight. This one's pretty easy. Has the same Persian, but it's much less of an issue this time because we have the goat Starmie. This fight's pretty normal compared to like a lot. You're gonna see a lot of fights play out exactly like this fight for the next hour, where I always lead an X-Spec and then I just one-shot everything. And in this fight, it works out perfectly because this Persian has fake out, so it always goes for fake out turn 1. So use that time to set up, and then we go. There's like 3 things I want to point out in this room, but you can't see them right now. One of them is that all the plants in this game that are like the blue pots are actually Oddishes in disguise. Like they're blue pots with like the leaves poking out, just like Oddish, and it's, you know, like a lot of furniture in this game is shaped like Pokemon for some reason. It's very bizarre. And then there's like a cool painting in the background between or after the chairman gives us the Master Ball.
There's a painting on the left and the right walls as well. It's all 3 of the legendary birds.
Oh, there's one of them. You can see the Zapdos one. There's the Oddish plant. See?
Yep, there's the Oddish plant.
In the other games, you can actually just leave in the older games, but here I actually am forced to talk to him. If I try to leave, he will say, "Hey, get back here." Yeah. He gives us a Master Ball, but unfortunately, we're done catching things, so it's actually completely useless.
Yeah, and it's not worth coming here like earlier to get the Master Ball because the fights would be so much worse if you did.
You know what's funny is if I caught the Venonat, I would have no problems right now. Not fair.
Honestly,
Skipping
that
Venonat
Venonat's
is
like
always
pretty
a good
bad.
decision.
Yeah. So 2 more gift Pokemon we're going to get here, which is really, really nice of the game. We get a Lapras from this individual here. Both these Pokemon are just way faster than actually catching or evolving anything else, even with the elevator time it takes to get here. And then we're also going to get a Porygon outside, which is going to be also very nice and help us reach that requirement. What do you think's faster? Moonstone or Master Balling something east of Fuchsia?
Probably the Moonstone if I had to guess.
Probably, yeah.
Man, I just wanted an excuse to Master Ball something.
I mean, if you really wanted to for the content, you can go right ahead.
Think
the
of
pro-
the
the problem with-
content.
The problem with Fuchsia is you have to go all the way over to the route, get it, and
Oh,
then go
true,
all the way
yeah.
back in.
No, you just fly back in.
Oh, that's true. There's still an extra menu though.
Yeah. Well, Moonstoning's an extra menu. Big
Is it?
shop here, last big shop of the game. Gonna get some repels. We're finally gonna use those because soon I'm not gonna need to catch anything. We're gonna get some X speeds. Gonna serve a lot of purposes. X special defense are gonna be very useful for late game. Going to get a modest, oh, not that, a modest 31 special attacks. Not a big deal. Oops. And a bunch of hyper potions. Sometimes you can buy full heals here. I'm actually going to avoid it because I didn't get confused by Blaine, so I'm in a pretty good situation. And if I get frozen at all in this run, which can happen, it actually doesn't matter because Staryu's or Starmie's Scald has a side effect where if you're frozen, you immediately thaw out if you use Scald, which is pretty cool.
So Sabrina's gym requirement is to have a level 45 Pokemon, which if you don't main switch to Starmie is actually very hard to get. If you just level up naturally throughout the game, you're probably not really level 45 here, especially if you're skipping fights like we are.
Yeah, casual playthroughs of this game are not like lightning fast if you don't have everything planned out ahead of time. It's actually pretty intense. There's a little trick with these teleporters where if you enter them at the correct angle, you skip an entire animation. Like that's not skipping it there. That's what it looks like. I did that on purpose to show what it looks like.
Of course.
Exactly.
Very minor, but it does. There's a little thing that adds up. That guy's cycle is always a little bit variable. And this is Sabrina. Sabrina is a pretty interesting fight because she will generally light screen pretty early on in the fight, and you want the light screen to run out at exactly the right time. If you just don't get light screen, you get the god fight and save a ton of time, like 20 seconds. But I've only gotten that once in my life. But generally, like to go light screen and reflect turn 1 and 2. You want if you do get light screen, you want to see it earlier rather than later because you do have to stall out the turns. 1. Yeah, turn 1's totally fine and expected. Better than turn 2. X speed here. And now I'm going to start attacking, and hopefully when I kill it with Scald on the second turn here. Okay, good. Yeah, this is definitely going to do it. Sometimes the 2-hit KOs are range, and you have to like Hydro Pump, and it's really messy. But yeah, so on this turn, their light screen will run out, and then I just sweep the rest of the team as normal.
Yeah, that was a pretty standard fight. Pretty much how it goes usually.
Yep, very normal.
Every so
Substitute.
often, what happens with me is that I crit on the first Mr. Mime turn, and then light screen is still up for Alakazam.
Yep.
Yeah, in that case, you pretty much just have to stall or just fight through it and hope for the best. It's not pretty.
The good thing though, I think Alakazam's best move against you is like Nightshade.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Nightshade just does damage based on level, so it doesn't really do that much. This run is really not bad. Very surprised. Like a minute and a half behind PB right now. Factoring in the Clefairy. Considering how low my poke count was earlier, that's shocking. All right, chat, we're gonna find this Clefairy Moonstone together, or not Clefairy, gonna go for Jigglypuff. This one.
Yep. And then upstairs, talk to the closet.
Over here. Yeah, we did it. You know, this Clefairy. Look at the Dodo, just chilling, just vibing. All right, so I'm gonna do a big menu here. We do a lot of things. Gonna heal. Start me with an elixir and hyper potion. I'm gonna get you. I should have deposited after, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do that. I'm going to. Oh, I should have done candies there too. I'll swap the X-Specs now. I guess candy I can do it later and it will be the same amount of inputs. So yeah, I'll swap X-Specs to the last slot so it's always one input left to get to it. There's my 50th Pokemon. We did it. Woo!
Yay.
Now we can have a normal speed run for the rest of this. Quote unquote normal. 124, 102. That was really weird. My joystick stopped like 3 times. Did it? Could I have just kept Wigglytuff in my party because it was dead? I could have, right? There's no more free heals.
Not until Officer Jenny. Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah. Although I guess, I would have had to do an extra menu at some point because I only would have gained probably like 1 level though. That might have been, yeah, that was probably the correct call. So just keep it. So we're getting some gold teeth here. We actually are still missing 1 HM. We don't have the strength one yet. You get it by delivering these gold teeth. In the original games, you'd get the gold teeth in the Safari Zone, but there is no Safari Zone in this game. We didn't really talk about the whole like Pokemon Go aspect of these games that much, but the gimmick of this game is, again, a combination of Pokemon Go and Pokemon Yellow. That's why the catches are very similar to Pokemon Go, and instead of the Safari Zone, which would have been really cool for a game like this, where it's so catch heavy, we have the Go Zone? Is that what it's called?
Go Park.
Go Park. Not to be confused with the PAL Park from Gen 4. And that's just used to transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go. So there's really nothing for us over there, so we don't go there. This is the worst gym in the entire run. This is Koga's gym.
Yep.
And the reason why it's the worst is just because of the move called Protect. This Muck control you super hard if you get unlucky. I just don't want to see Toxic turn 1 here, pretty much. And I don't want to see Minimize, especially. I just want to see Protect. It's fine. Status lag is cool. Okay. Unfortunately, this means I have to heal after this fight. I do have to get rid of that poison. I could try to heal up this turn. But if I get Protect, if I don't get Protect, it sucks. I'll try it. Nice.
Nice.
Good gamble. Worked out. Actually, that was like a totally fine Caden fight. So we'll take it. That ended up being basically like average amount of turns normally because Caden likes to troll super hard. Caden has killed more runs than I'd like to admit. So I know the secret path to this gym already. I'm not cheating, I swear. And now it's Koga. Every one of Koga's Pokemon can Protect. Weezing can sometimes explode, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can crit, and that would suck. Explosion just kills Weezing immediately and does a ton of damage, but it won't kill me at this HP unless it crits. Sometimes you can be like greedy and use Scald on some of these Pokemon, and it's not too bad, but my special attack's not that high, so I cannot do that. And again, it's kind of the standard setup where we X-Spec and then go. Starmie's base speed is good enough to outspeed most things in the game. Just naturally. Nope. Good. The nice thing about getting Protects on turns where you're not attacking is that they usually don't protect the next turn. It's actually pretty rare. Something about the Protect AI is pretty funky in general. There's my first hit Protect, unfortunately.
Yeah, basically this entire gym is just hope the Pokemon doesn't use Protect when you're attacking it.
Yeah.
And so there's like a huge amount of variance of how long this gym takes because of that.
Yeah, it's very fun to like get through the insane RNG pain that is catching 50 Pokemon, and then getting to the your reward is the most RNG heavy gym in the run. But this is the second to last gym, normally the 6th gym leader. And after this, we're gonna go get the strength. Oh my gosh, 3 Protects. We're gonna get the strength HM equivalent, and then go fight Giovanni. I used a lot of psychics there, which is a little scary, but I should still be fine. Just have to be careful.
Yeah, the move PP here is like very carefully planned out in a way such that you won't have to use any sort of extra PP healing item until you get a free heal all the way in Victory Road.
Yeah.
So actually just have to like pay attention to how many psychics he has.
Yeah, there's a fight coming up that you can use either Scald or Psychic for a couple of Pokemon. And depending on, because like Etchy said, you know, if you have better special attack, you can use Scald against the Venomoth and the Weezing on Koga, so you can sort of play around with your PP and figure out like exactly what to use it on here in order to make sure you have enough.
Yeah. I just really need to make sure I have one for the first fight in Victory Road. That's like the biggest requirement. Yeah. There's a little trick here where if you hug the sign, you save like 3 seconds because he doesn't walk all the way down to you. If you're a little bit lower, he'll do like a 3-second walking animation before talking to you. Here he just stays pointed at you and it's nice. But yeah, I popped the Max Repel, so we're gonna be like running through places without having to worry about random encounters, and it's gonna be wonderful. This is the part of the game that reminds me that, oh, this is post Gen 6, so there are actually Mega Evolutions in this game. We just never see them until the very last fight, and we just now unlock them. And we're not going to use any Mega Evolutions because Starmie will not Mega Evolve, but our spoilers, the champion fight will have a Mega, and it'll be scary. It'll be quite a run killer, actually, for a lot of people. I think we've all had several run dies to that Mega Pokemon by now, right?
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
One to forgetting Quick Attack.
Yeah. Oof.
So Champion has like 3 Quick Attack Pokemon. One of my first runs of this game, I forgot about Quick Attack existing on the Pidgeot. Oh, I spoiled it. On the Mega Pokemon. And my Pokemon's friendship was high enough and I got lucky, so it toughed out the attack and didn't die. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's go. And then the second Pokemon that had Quick Attack came out and Quick Attacked again, and I still toughed it out and I lived. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I felt invincible. And then the third Quick Attack Pokemon came out and actually killed my my Starmie in my run. You don't get magic like that in the other games, you know. So this is one fight where I'm just gonna try to preserve Psychics. So I'm gonna be down to 2 Psychics now. I should probably just 2 Controller Samuel. Yeah, there's no reason not to. The fight after this is one of the first fights where if you miss Hydro Pump, the odds of dying are greater than 0, to say the least. I think we've all had runs where we've died to Samuel on good pace.
The berry.
Alex the Berry, yeah.
My first ever 301 pace run that got this far died to Samuel. I missed Hydro Pump twice in a row because I survived the first hit because he has Mega Horn, which is really scary. In order to avoid that shenanigan, I'm just going to 2 control of this, do an X-Spec and Scald, and not have to worry about it. And it's fine.
That is the correct choice.
Yeah.
It is 9-second difference.
That's why, like, the dream scenario in a Pokemon Let's Go run is you're just so far ahead after the Blaine split where you can just take these fights safely and not have to do insane Hydro Pump YOLOs. But that never happens.
That's
This
what I
game's
should have
not nice.
done.
You're always in a bad position leaving Blaine where you're just like, well, I have to have everything go well in order to actually 301, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
again, there's just so much RNG with the catch stuff. Even if you like plan correctly and play really well, the odds of everything going perfectly is just not going to happen ever. So you take what you can get, and usually what happens is things go really well in the first chunk of it, and then they fall apart as you get closer and closer to Blaine. And then you just kind of have to hope the Starmie section plays well. I should check where my X defends were, I'm not sure. This next fight is one of the scarier gym battles, actually. I've also lost runs to this Giovanni individual. He leads with a Doug Trio. It's extremely fast, so you're not going to outspeed it unless you X-speed. And there's no point in X-speeding because it's the only thing that outspeeds you in the entire fight. If you have insane defense and HP, you actually can skip the X-Defend, but that never happens. So I'm going to use an X-Defend turn 1 and hope I don't get crit. If you get crit, you will just die. It has Slash, which is a high crit chance move, so that's fun. It has Earthquake, which does a lot of damage. And then it also has Sucker Punch, which it randomly uses and is really weird. You actually want to see Sucker Punch because it does basically nothing, even though it is super effective. Yeah, I don't know what
Most of the
slot
time
it
we'll go
spins.
for Earthquake, but every so often you'll see some splashes and some Sucker Punches, and it's always nice to get that.
Oh, I wasn't at full HP because I didn't heal. I have to heal now. That's fine though, because normally what happens is you have to heal after this fight anyway, because you get knocked into quick attack range from the Pidgeot from your rival. So not too bad to heal there. I had to heal at some point. It was either before or after this fight, and now I can delay that heal until during the next fight. And the reason why we don't say 2 control of this fight is that I'm basically forced to have 2 Pokemon out every single turn. So this fight that is normally, let's say, every 6 turns if you do X defend, X special attack, Scald spam. It would be an 8 turn effectively with the 2 controller fight. Because you would have 2 turns per Pokemon. But yeah, this is another reason why Starmie's really good. We're just super effective against basically every remaining gym leader after you catch it. That's like potentially scary. Giovanni's ground, Blaine is fire. Koga is poison. Just works out really nicely in our favor. This run is such a good pace. I really should have caught the Kangaskhan. Dang it. Do you have anything fun to ride into Elite Four? You can ride Starmie. The best ride Pokemon in this game, by the way, is Snorlax, but unfortunately I don't have one.
Yeah, no Onyx either. Right, unlucky.
Yeah. Onyx is always a good time. Starmie is always funny because people are like, why can you ride a Starmie? That's so random.
What's funny about Starmie is you can ride it on land. You can't ride it in the water.
Yeah.
Because there are, I think there's 3 Pokemon you can ride in the water. You can ride Gyarados, Lapras, and something else. But it's not Starmie. And Starmie you can ride, but in the, like on land. It's super weird.
We'll ride Starmie into the Elite Four and it'll be great. It'll be perfect. It'll be a victory charge.
So this fight coming up is like really interesting. So one mechanic in this game is that like usually the opponent will kind of look at your Pokemon and then it will look at their own Pokemon and say, okay, what's the best Pokemon I have to face whatever you have out. But because we have 2 Pokemon out, the opponent will randomly like choose one of the 2 Pokemon you have out, and then it will, based on that random choice, it will then pick its own Pokemon to send out. And because of that, the order that this rival sends out its Pokemon in is different. Like, it's random.
Yeah.
So you have to very carefully plan this fight so that you can deal with any situation that comes up.
Yeah, the most important thing is that Jolteon is very scary, and the way the X item mechanics works is like, if I X speed on a turn, I don't get the speed boost until the next turn. So it's very, very important that I X speed on turn 2 always, just in case Jolteon comes out turn 3.
Yeah, Jolteon can't come out.
Oh, I got unlucky.
Oh. I was going to say, Jolteon can't come out turn 2, just because of the way the
It's going to heal, isn't it?
turn order goes.
Mistakes are made. That was a risk I ended up taking because I didn't have enough Psychics left, so I went for Scald. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Oh my goodness. I guess I Hydro Pump X back here? That's not going to kill, though. Oh, with the Stomp, maybe. I'm just dead.
Okay, yep.
There's no way to make this up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, just Miss Thunder, I guess, is the only thing.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
I could have X special defended and maybe I would have been able to make it out, but we got our first death. Woo! Woo! On the bright side, now my PB is restored, so I can't die like that again.
Yeah, luckily also we buy extra X items.
Yeah, so I'm totally fine
So-
here. It's not a big deal. And I actually lose friendship for that, so that's technically optimal.
Wait, do you lose friendship?
For fainting,
I
yeah.
don't think you lose friendship for fainting.
I don't
in
think
this
you
game.
do in this game.
In this game, did they change that?
Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
remember testing that and it didn't lower
That's
it.
so weird. All right, time to do this again.
All right, time to beat this fight first try, right?
Yeah. Do you want to explain how weird this fight is, Amber?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me go ahead and explain how weird this fight is in the send-out order and the careful X items that we use.
So here we're fighting the level 9 Weedle guy.
All right. This is going to go exactly the same as last time, so there's really nothing to explain here.
Yeah. It actually is worth pointing out. So specifically having Rapidash as your partner is important. If you had something like Aerodactyl, back when we used to get the fossils, Aerodactyl was a common ride Pokemon to use, and Aerodactyl can bait out the Jolteon or the Raichu in Let's Go Eevee first, which would be an issue. So you have to have something that isn't weak to electric, but not weak to grass, basically. It's kind of complicated.
I just realized we like never explained it, but the reason like Etchy sold the fossil that he had like way earlier in the run and didn't like go get Aerodactyl or anything like that, it's just because it's very slow to like go into the building, talk to the guy, get the cutscene of receiving a fossil Pokemon. It's just better to catch other things.
Yeah, it's really funny because it's like it's this awkward time to get the fossil where getting one fossil isn't worth it. Getting two fossils would be worth it if both fossils were already given to you. But the fact of the matter is it takes like 45 seconds to get the old Amber. So the 45 seconds on top of the cutscene stuff just isn't worth it.
I should have grabbed it this run, though. It would have been cool. And I needed the extra Pokemon. Here's the badge check. They're just going to check that I have all my badges. People have tried in the past to try to like glitch through these, and this game is very ironclad. I just talked to my Rapidash.
Have we tried menu storage?
No, unlike BDSP, this game is not built directly upon the game it is remaking, so I don't think we're gonna need anything like that.
The speedrun would be a lot different if it was.
Yeah, this game, again, this is the 90% run. It's basically glitchless. And I say basically because there is one glitch that we can do here. And it might actually happen. I will go for it. I've never gotten it in a run before. And we'll talk about it as we get closer to it. But it's actually a really recently discovered glitch, and it saves a lot of time if you get it, but you will never ever get it on a good run. So yeah. I don't even know if anyone's like recent PBs have it.
Imagine getting a recent PB.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't PB'd in like a month now.
Aspect's gotten it like in runs, but I don't know. I don't know if he's ever gotten it in like a good run.
Yeah. I think the last time he got a really good one with Dawson Skip, he died to Lance because Lance becomes much worse. If I spoiled the skip again, I'm sorry, but it's called Dawson Skip. It's because you skip a trainer named Dawson, and it's pretty dangerous if you do get it because you are under leveled for Lance, which is really, really bad potentially. But you save a lot of time if it works out. You skip an entire fight basically, and we'll discuss it more later.
This fight sucks.
Yeah, this fight's really bad.
This is like maybe one of the only fights in the run that we two-controller a lot of the time for safety over speed.
Yeah.
This fight is just straight up faster to one controller, but you're way more likely to die. You need to set up an X special, and if you're doing it one controller, you set up X special and get hit with Crunch, which usually does over half.
Yeah.
And then you have to hit your Hydro Pump, and if your Starmie's special attack isn't very good, the Hydro Pump's a range.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to hit an 80% accurate move, you sometimes have to hit like a 75% range.
It's awful.
It's just not pleasant.
One of the changes from this game to a lot of the other remakes or Gen 1 games is there's actually a lot of trainers you're required to fight here. Unlike all the other Gen 1 remakes where there's no required fights. So I have to fight like 5 trainers to get out of here. which is pretty intense. And all these fights are actually not like free. All of them can go badly, basically. Not as badly as that first fight with Naomi, but all these fights you can lose time on, which is not great. Hypno can like put you to sleep. It's also really hard to kill sometimes. If you have really high special attack, you can go for like a Hydro Pump.
Is Hypno's like the bulkiest thing that's not in the Elite Four?
It's crazy. It's so crazy. And then coming up next is actually another skip, but it's not really a glitch in the way that the Dawson skip is, and you'll see the difference especially if I get Dawson skip, then you'd really understand why it's like a glitch. Let's see, nice. But basically, by just like carefully dodging this trainer's vision, you can skip the fight completely, and it's pretty nice. We have to push this boulder, and we're also getting a nice free heal from Officer Jenny. This isn't in the original game. Take that. That just heals my entire party to full.
Now, one thing you have to be like kind of careful about here is like you can accidentally push this boulder into a corner, and if you manage to do that, you have to leave the room, re-enter the room, and then push the boulder like all the way again. And if you do that on a run, it's very, very sad.
Yeah, I've done that before. And fun fact, down that ladder is a Moltres, which I could catch with my Master Ball, and I probably would have if I didn't die earlier. Yeah, let's see if we can get it here. It's a pretty finicky skip. So it's pretty easy to mess it up, especially when you're super nervous, like on really, really good pace, right? I think we all probably messed it up once or twice in a good run. It happens.
I feel like I've only messed it up on good runs. If the run's like bad, I'm not even like nervous about it, and it's easy.
Just like a nerve thing. This thing can put you to sleep. It can also freeze you. I'm gonna try to hit a Hydro Pump on it.
Yeah.
Good.
I usually miss the skip when I have what happened to Etchy just now, where like the first time he tried to go over the hump, it didn't work, and the second time it did. Usually the second time I hit the trainer. I have to either go full speed or I have to like try again.
So that was kind of unfortunate. I have to heal now. His HP is a little too low if I end up having to fight Dawson. By the way, if I do get Dawson skip, you know, I bet I don't have to fight him because I did get the extra XP from fighting Rival twice. I bet I'd be fine.
I think you would be, yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say I'd just go fight him anyway, but nah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna heal now before I forget. The Lickitung he has Power Whip, which is a grass type move, can actually do a decent amount of damage. And then the Blastoise that he has Aqua Jet, which is a priority move, so you can just get owned sometimes. Not really worth the risk. As long as you get lucky and you dodge Power Whip, and then you can delay depositing Rapidash for a while. I'm actually going to keep Rapidash for the Elite Four. At least for some of the fights, because it might actually save my life. Actually, does it matter? I just save.
I usually keep it through 3.
Definitely for Agatha, it's nice to like a bailout.
Yeah.
That
way you don't have to deal with like the dumb crunch turn 1 fight.
Yeah, I'll keep it for Agatha. That makes sense. It's not really going to bail you out on the other fights. Okay, so here's Dawson skip. Dang it.
That's literally the whole thing.
Yeah, that's literally the whole thing. Sometimes it works. 90% of the time it doesn't. 99% of the time it doesn't. This was discovered by Cruel. Cruel was doing a run and just kind of like accidentally skipped Dawson. Just it didn't even like phase Cruel. He didn't even know that like he skipped a trainer when it happened. He just ran through there. And if you're wondering, how it works, this is perfect because now it makes sense to keep Rapidash for first 2 fights. But I will ride Starmie to victory. Still, I promise. He didn't even realize he like skipped the required fight. And it turns out we don't know exactly why it happened. Some combination of like probably the ladder being there, the rocks being in that position that they are in, and Rapidash spawning at just the right time lets you skip his vision completely and get on the ladder before that happens. No one has a consistent setup for it. Some runners get it more often than others, but it still like doesn't happen ever.
It also seems to be like really specific to Rapidash's hitbox because like runners have tried doing it with other like fast ride Pokemon and it just like never works with anything else.
Yeah, and this is the only spot we've been able to like skip things in, which is pretty weird. Go Starmie. Yeah. This can't be comfortable to ride on, right? Like your knees are just like on top of those sharp edges. There's a cute little cutscene with Pikachu, who we're definitely not going to use in any of these fights. Go. Yeah.
There's human.
I don't know what tier Starmie is in. Sorry, go ahead.
Starmie's not that fast.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, so we're starting up the Elite Four. We have 5 fights left. First 2 fights in Elite Four are pretty straightforward. Lorelei can be a little bit finicky depending on your stats. Sometimes you either have to go for like a range or you have to go for a Hydro Pump. The real guts of the Elite Four are the final 3 trainers, and all 3 of them have some pretty horrible things that can happen.
Yeah. I'm going to do the safe strat here, which is triple X specialing. This allows me to skip the Lapras range and also avoid Hydro Pumping the Jinx. I just realized if Fainting doesn't lose you friendship, then I'm going to get Bruno turnarounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because,
I saw May mention it in chat. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, because I have to reapply all his X items. So it's not a big deal.
I was gonna laugh if Starmie just turned around.
I know, yeah, I was expecting it. I was waiting. So yeah, effectively when you have turnarounds, you're losing like 2 seconds per super effective hit. It's not the greatest thing in the world. So yeah, normally you Hydro Pump this, but I can just Scald it, and it will die. And we're out of there. His HP is also fine, so I don't have to heal before the next fight. Or 134 is not. Nah, that's pretty bad actually. Yeah. That means I'm only gonna have like 136 or something for a Dragonite. Not the worst. But my special attack at 43 wasn't that bad. I'm surprised it turned out this like mediocre. So I'm not gonna heal now. I'll heal after this fight. I'm gonna have to Scald Onyx here. PB management's super important in this entire section. Obviously, don't get any free heals. I have 1 Ether. I'm gonna use that before Lance. And it's really easy to accidentally Ether the wrong move. So I'm gonna try to not do that.
Yeah, the interesting thing with Bruno is that normally here in like a world record attempt, you'd only have 1 Pokemon in your party, and it would pretty much always go for Earthquake. But because you have 2 Pokemon in your party, it can sometimes go for Stealth Rock, which is just a little bit faster.
There's the turnarounds. You also get extra turnarounds for like low HP and stuff, which you just saw there too. Expected. Extra time loss, but not a big deal. Bruno's really easy to deal with. Just Onyx and a bunch of fighting types, which again, we're perfectly suited for.
Was that expected upon?
Was what?
Expected.
You're funny. You're doing it. Yeah, this is.
I thought you did it on purpose for a
No,
second.
I am not that funny. Everyone knows I am the opposite of funny. I am the least comedic person to ever grace twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick. But I have funny commentators, so it's okay.
Yep, I'm a comedic genius.
Yes.
Known for it, actually.
Same.
Yeah.
So
That's real.
Agatha coming up.
The worst fight ever is coming up, yeah. I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
save anyway for it.
Agatha is like the reason that 1 controller and 2 controller are combined now. This fight typically goes one way. Usually you get glare turn 1. Glare will paralyze you, and then you get crunch turn 2. You have to set up 2 X items. So you get glare turn 1, crunch turn 2. You can full restore turn 3, and then sweep. Very rarely you can get crunch turn 1. Even more rarely you can get poison jab, but let's just not talk about that. And back when like the records were like 310 or something like that, I was on a run that got crunch turn 1 and we hadn't seen it before, and I literally just summoned the 2nd controller to help me through the rest of the fight and beat the 2 controller record by like 3 minutes, and was like, this is stupid, because I did a 1 controller run the entire time and then 2 controller for a single fight. But yeah, this is the standard fight, so this is pretty free.
Yeah, pretty normal. What you want to see. No defense drops from crunch, because that usually means very bad things. The ideal situation is getting that power of love and just not having to deal with paralysis, but it doesn't always happen. You can kind of YOL the Arbok and this wheezing. You basically, like, if you're paralyzed, you still outspeed things until the Gengar comes out. Once the Gengar comes out, you are in trouble. So you have until then to shake off the paralysis naturally. And if you're a maniac, you can also Hydro Pump all these Pokemon and skip the turnarounds. But it's arranged for a lot of them unless you have really good special attack. And you're going to miss. You always miss when you go for Hydro Pumps here. It's just a matter of fact. Don't do it, kids. Stay in school. Don't Hydro Pump Agatha. I am level 53 already. Does that do anything for me? No.
No.
Maybe I hit 54 early-ish? In a way that matters? No, I doubt it.
I doubt it.
It'd only matter if I got it before, like, Pidgeot. Actually, it could matter if I get it before Jolteon, right? Yeah.
I don't think you have.
No, my special attack's terrible. It won't matter. Never mind.
Yeah.
You need good special attack for that to actually be a factor. You need a good Starmie.
If you had like super bad special attack, it would matter for Gyarados, but it's good enough that it doesn't really matter here.
Doing that very slowly? Okay. I wanted to save before I did that because I knew I'd screw it up. And I just took it super slow, so it was fine.
So this fight's very fun. And
Yeah.
he's gonna use an X special defense so that he can set up on the Hedra.
Deidre.
The Hedra without like dying instantly. And he's gonna X speed to outspeed everything in this fight. And then he's gonna use 3 X specials, the maximum possible that you can use. And even after all of that, because Etchy's special attack is not great, it is still arranged to kill the Dragonite at the very end.
It'll be a 14 out of 16 range, so like 87%. It's not too bad. 1, 2, 9, 3, and away
Yeah.
we go. If I miss
This
the range,
is-
I will die.
Yes. This is the first of 2 fights. Well, I mean, the last 2 fights in the run, but it's the first of 2 fights where the objective is please don't crit me, Mr. Dragon Man.
Yeah.
crits ignore. So we set up the X special defense to boost our special defense and basically double it. But crits ignore that. So if normally he's taking 40 damage, a crit would do 120, which is just gonna outright kill you if you've taken any damage. So it's a very dangerous fight, and it's completely out of your control.
Yeah, never ever a good time. My my Eevee world record hits like a 50% range on the Dragonite and somehow wins, or like a 10 out of 16 or something. I don't remember. It was awful.
I remember that because you like set up an extra X defense in case you missed the range, but then like didn't have the health for it anyways.
Yeah, I lost like 10 seconds trying to play it safe and still didn't matter, but it worked out magically. That was the only time I've ever been lucky in my entire life. While running Pokemon Let's Go. Okay, so champions come out next. It's our rival Trace, spoiler. He has the Mega Pidgeot, as I've already alluded to. I'm going to heal, and I'm also going to Hyper Potion here. There's actually some pretty cool safety strats you can do. If you have if you're playing on Eevee version, have a Meowth, you can actually do a really cool strat that uses Fake Out on the Meowth to basically make the fight completely safe and free. You don't have that because Meowth is version exclusive. There are other things you could do, but it's not really worth it. Unless you get like a Kangaskhan or something. Oh, I should have caught the Kanga. Dang it. Could have busted it out for this. I didn't think about that. I wasn't thinking that far ahead. So this fight's terrible and terrifying, and everyone dies here because you do so much setup on the Pidgeot, and if he crits you once, the odds of dying are pretty high. Just likes to spam Air Slash. It's not a high crit chance move, but it feels like it. Crits are only 1 in 24 normally, so it's 4%. And yet most people die here, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty much the only way you're living a crit here is if you're like at completely full health and you like barely live it. Very fun.
I love this. This is like one of the best songs in the game. I love losing my runs to hearing this song.
Even your special defense isn't very good.
Yeah. This is what normally happens. You get knocked into quick attack range. He'll use quick attack here most of the time. We go for one more X-Spec and not get crit. That Psychic was also range, but worked out. That was like a 14 out of 16 as well. Okay, so here I'm going to go for one more X Special. At this HP, I should get Solar Beam. So it's a free setup turn. And then I win from here. That's it. We did it.
Yay.
My Pikachu PB had to go for a Hydro Pump on Jolteon just to try to save more time, and it worked out. But that's what you normally do here is you would, instead of going for the extra X Special on Vileplume, you would just skip it and go for Hydro Pump Jolteon, or if you have really good special attack, you can just Psychic it, and sometimes it works out. But that was pretty chill, except for that one time I died. If you ignore that, this was a really good run.
This was a very interesting run.
It was.
Definitely like marathon luck run for sure.
It was cool to show off a run where I literally had to dig deep into the backup reserves just to meet the catch requirement. It was a fun experience. Time is going to be not for a little bit. We have to get to the Hall of Fame first, and then I'll count it down when it happens. But this is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. If you're interested at all in Pokemon speedrunning, or if you liked anything you saw here, I strongly recommend checking this run out and trying it out. Again, we also have the shorter Ditch Bill category, which is like 30 minutes long, if that's more your speed. If you want to dip your toes into the water and see what it's all about. This is by far my favorite Pokemon game, by far my favorite Pokemon speedrun. Probably my favorite speedrun overall. It is such a unique and dynamic run, and it's just so different from a lot of normal speedruns where it's the exact same thing every single time. There's just so much variance, so much decision making and like thought and brain power that has to be used, which I know scares people, but I promise it's not as bad as it probably seemed this run. It's a lot of fun, and I strongly recommend people trying it out. So time is gonna call here when the first black frame after this. So I will try to count it down. We have a Switch Discord if you want to get into that stuff. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. That was it.
Nice countdown.
It came up faster than I thought. I wasn't ready. We have the Switch Discord, Switch Pokemon Speedrunning. There's links to that on speedrun.com. If you go to this game, you'll see the Discord link. There's plenty of good resources on that website as well. You can always check out the guides there. Etiquette's even made some like video tutorial stuff. You can always check that out. And I want to thank my commentators for being here. Even though they're both on the East Coast, they stayed up very late for this run, and I appreciate them greatly. Thank you both for all the insight. And thank you so much for GDQ for letting me close out One-and-Done-athon. I'm glad I had the opportunity to show off this game and everything it has to offer. Also, if you want to see more of this, Etiquette did Pokemon Let's Go Eevee at a SGDQ 2019, so you can check out that run too. Anything quickly from you two?
Thanks, Etchy, for doing the run.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome. Wow.
Run was great. Really good showcase of the run.
Yeah, a really good showcase of just how insane things can get and how much recovery and like decision making that has to take place in mid game. So yeah, thank you all so much.
Yeah, and thank you for doing the run. You know,
Yeah,
you mentioned it, but I always do like to see, you know, and I've mentioned a few times throughout this marathon, I like to see when, you know, runners have to dig into those reserves, have to do the backups, because then, you know, that shows like how much the speedrunning community like plans ahead for, what if this trick goes wrong? What if this, you know, what if this part goes wrong? And that's just stuff I really like seeing, because
exactly. Yeah.
there's just so much planning that goes into it. But yeah, so that was the final run of One-and-Done-athon. I want to, you know, thank everybody for thank you all for watching. We'll hit the final goodbye forever to Etchy. Goodbye forever. Name
Bye
off the board.
forever. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you again, possibly at future GDQ events. Now I gotta open this and write something else that you're not allowed to see yet.
Oh. Sounded like a marker.
Oh God. I realized I can't write that fast. Okay. Now, I want to do some shout outs before I reveal what that was. I did write all of these down. So first up, I want to thank Muffins and the whole Hotfix crew for letting me show off this marathon. Like I've mentioned, this is a concept that I've had for such a long time because I really want to showcase the variety that, you know, speedrunners. I find a lot of speedrunners have like the passion game, you know, the one that they like really enjoy doing, but, you know, maybe it's not super marathon accessible, or it's, you know, they don't feel great about like submitting it to a major marathon because they want to submit other things. And so I really want to have this as a way that people can show off what they're really passionate about and just get the chance to like do it the best and the biggest, you know, and I can kind of stay out of their way and say, okay, here you go, here's the stage. You know, so I want to thank all the runners for submitting. If you submitted and you're in chat and you didn't get accepted, please submit again. There's like a 99% chance that I really liked your run, and just because of the format, I only had a weekend to pick all these runs. I just couldn't fit it in, and it was a timing restriction more than anything else. I want to thank Shockwave. He was the one who helped me pick out all these runs, and we dueled back and forth over a few of them to get them in. I want to thank Relkun, Richard, and Worm being in the studio for helping me with all this. I'm going to point at Relkun, even though they're not going to see this until like 10 seconds later. And finally, I want to thank all the viewers here. You know, there wouldn't be this without you. So thank you for watching, and now I'm going to reveal it. Goodbye forever to One-and-Done-athon Season 1. Season 2 coming 2022, hopefully. Still in the planning stages, but it's happening. So we'll wipe that off, and we'll see you all next time.